All right, we're starting. Hello, my name's William Burnett, and this is Talk Video, and I'm here with Lili Shoulder, also known as 51717, which is like Lili S in hacker. Sure. So, those of you that don't know her, she's a musician in New York City, and she's been doing it for a while now, and she came by to have a little chat. And we're going to have a couple glasses of wine, hopefully, and see how it goes. We were talking about show tunes in the other room. Or not show tunes. We were talking about going to see Broadway shows. And I had just gone to go see some kind... what was it called? I don't... FS... It was initials that started with an F, and something was like freestyle something, and it was a musical improv rap battle. And then you said that you had just gone to go see Fiddler on the Roof in Yiddish.
Yes.
And it started, and it made you cry.
Yes, it was very emotional.
I had the same thing with this. There was like, I kind of wasn't really connecting with a lot of the people. I was like, this is weird. It's not my comfort zone. But I was like, some of my family brought me, and they were like, it's music, you'll like it. So it took me a little while, and then I realized, there's like these two dorky guys in the back, like playing keyboards, and so like they did a couple numbers and they played keyboards, and then like the really dorky, like skinny one with long hair, this kind of like young Weird Al vibes, he like came out and he started singing, and it was like beautiful, and it like made you want to cry too. So it was like the same thing as like watching a Disney movie on an airplane, so I can relate to wanting to cry in the. Did you ever do any musical theater? No. Why not?
I was in school plays, I guess, in my school years, but mostly because I had to participate. It wasn't like a choice. I wouldn't call it musical theater. When I was 7 years old, I guess that's like first grade, my class had a play about the United States, and I was originally supposed to play John Adams, the president, but I got in trouble for some reason, so my teacher demoted me to the role of Richard Nixon, which ended up being a big hit.
So you stole the show.
Kind of. I didn't quite understand why everyone was like laughing when I was standing like this going, I will not wallow in Watergate.
And
Yeah.
that sounds pretty good, but so I don't know. I mean, this thing, I don't know if you watched any of these before. Do you know what happens in these, or you skip through a couple, or?
Yeah, I watched a few. I saw the one with Ari recently. That brought back actually a lot of memories.
Yeah, he was pretty loose.
Yeah.
Loose cannon. You were on the radio once before when I had the show on Newtown, and you came and you played live, and we talked a little bit too, I think.
I
can't remember really.
Not very verbal.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I was still kind of tripping from the night before.
Wow. So you're from New York, pretty much. Long story.
I mean, I grew up in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., actually.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's how I know a lot of
the DMV.
people, yeah, from our scene.
Oh.
But my family is like New Yorkers. My parents are both from Brooklyn, Flatbush. But I grew up in kind of a pretty sheltered community. So I didn't really meet like music people until like high school. And,
so, I mean, is that, I don't know what am I allowed to ask this stuff? So you grew up in why was it sheltered? I mean,
I grew up in an Orthodox Jewish community.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
And so it's like pretty religious. And so that is probably like it affects your daily life every single day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and you had brothers and sisters too?
Mm-hmm.
Older, younger?
I have both. I have 5 siblings.
And you're in the middle.
In the middle.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Too older. So they just forgot about you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you moved off to New York.
Mm-hmm.
So was there like so you're a musician now. You do other stuff now, but I mean this podcast is mostly about music stuff. Was there like a musical thing in your childhood? I mean, you already said you had like a theater thing. Did you go to a different school? You went to an Orthodox school? Or?
Yeah, went to like yeshiva, like day school, up through like my high school years.
Like all the way through graduation.
Mm-hmm.
Never regular public school.
Never. No.
And did you ever have interactions with like regular kids?
Yeah, that happened like in high school.
How does that work? Sorry if this is fascinating to me because I don't know anything about this stuff. Like you go to the other school, you have like maybe you have like a sports game, you have play water polo against the field hockey or something.
Well, yeah, like so it was like a private school, obviously. So for the sports teams, the leagues would be against other private schools in the region, and sometimes it would be like, I don't know, Catholic, like not necessarily Jewish schools, but I wasn't like active in the sports community. I wasn't meeting.
You weren't like a cheerleader or something.
We didn't have cheerleaders. There was like a band that would play like pep rallies at our school.
So there was a pep squad?
So kind of. So like if there was a big game coming up, and this was like when I was in like junior high when I was first getting into music. So it was like these like cool like Orthodox like yeshiva boys, and there was one girl in the band actually. They were called Silent Noise, which that name really resonates with me actually.
It's a pretty good name.
Yeah.
Like for an oxymoron name. That's an oxymoron I've never heard before.
It's kind of like a Hasidic thing, like Reb Nachman. Like you think about like the voice of God, it's very powerful, but at the same time, it's like a hushed sound. It's like a silent noise.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah.
So I mean, do you just tell me if I'm going too far with like and so like if you're gonna go play like against the Catholic school, did you have any like cool like derogatory or like what would you say like about like warnings or like things you would call them, or like you don't interact on a certain way, or
I don't know. No, it was just all
normal.
like a sporting thing, and I never went to games or anything.
Oh, okay. There wasn't like a don't talk to them or don't
not to my knowledge. I mean, maybe if I were on like the girls' basketball team or whatever. I wasn't. So.
But that's weird. And so like they still so you have to still do like the like standardized tests and stuff like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of my classmates went to Ivy League schools. They were ambitious.
So you do that. It's like regular school, but with a religious focus.
So yeah, there's a double curriculum. So from like kindergarten, starting in kindergarten, we're learning Hebrew as well as English, and there's English studies, but also Judaic studies. So like when I was in middle school, I was studying whatever math, science, social studies, and then afternoons like studying Talmud, like in Aramaic and
so
all that stuff.
Was your family like religious, or this is more of a cultural thing, or they intersect?
Yeah, my family is got a little bit more religious as the community grew. Yeah.
And were you? I mean, what did that affect you in any way, or it's just kind of like? I mean, were you like bummed out by it, or you're just like we're in it?
It's deeply traumatic.
Is it?
I'm working through it.
And do you still talk to your family?
Yeah, I do.
Is it weird or anything, or what? They're worried about you.
Like you said, I'm the middle child, so kind of.
As long as everybody else is doing okay.
Pretty much.
And what about your brothers and sisters? What are they off doing?
They're all doing different things as well.
And are you close with any of them?
A few.
A few. Anything you want to, is there one you're closest to? Like one that lives in New York or something?
I have a brother who lives in New York on the Upper East Side.
And what does he do?
He works in real estate.
Yeah. That's cool. And you like go out, sometimes you guys hang out?
Yeah, sometimes. He invites me over.
And you go to his place?
Yeah.
And he has a family?
He's got 2 kids. They're adorable.
So you go over there and hang out and cook and
Sometimes I babysit.
oh man, that's cool. That's nice though. That's nice to be around the family.
Yeah.
So what? Somehow you ended up being into a noise musician. I'm just curious. That was just kind of set the background. You grew up in a private yeshiva school. Did I say that right? In so it was in Silver Spring.
The school, yeah.
And you spent all the way through high school there, doing whatever they do. I have no idea, and with a pretty big focus on religion. And somehow you got into noise music, electronic music, and performing live. Was there like a step? Did something happen as a child where you realized? Was it really just silent noise? Was that like a major moment, or was like there's something before where like you were somewhere and you saw MTV or heard a radio song, or like
so growing up, my mom would always listen to like the oldies, like in the car and carpool, and she would get really excited, very nostalgic, and I thought it was like whatever. And then my dad was always into jazz and like free jazz, and the rumors about my dad was that like in the 60s he was kind of like he was like living in like Greenwich Village,
smoking pot,
pretty much. Yeah. My mom would talk about how like he would take her to see like Pharaoh Saunders, she'd mispronounce his last name, and like Sun Ra and stuff. So my dad is like a real hipster, like OG, and he's always had an amazing record collection, and he would play this music around the house, like mostly on Sundays. And I didn't really get it, when I was young. I thought it was weird, but I think it kind of seeped into my brain.
Yeah.
Because now going back and revisiting that collection, it's like
you're like,
incredible.
You're like, oh, you have this?
Yeah, basically. Like if I were like a geek, I mean, I'm a geek, but like not like a record.
Yeah.
I'm not like a DJ, but a lot of very valuable LPs and just far out stuff.
But how does that? I mean, so like if you say this, from what you've said so far, it seems like religion was a pretty big deal. How does that? Is that looked upon weird? Like that he was listening to that music? Was that like a
I
was
think
an unusual thing?
Like jazz and free jazz.
It was a respectable.
It's a very it's very Jewish in a way. You think about klezmer music. There's a lot of like real soul and like a spiritual
clarinets.
Yeah.
I don't know. And if I say offensive stuff, I'm just joking.
No, I'm not easily offended.
But I mean that's interesting. And then is he still a music person, or he's kind of?
Yeah.
What is he? I mean, what can I ask? What your parents do? Are they still working?
Yeah, my dad's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's a retired school teacher. She taught like creative movement actually.
And did she work at the yeshiva school or at a public school?
Yeah, a few like Orthodox schools. She taught like mostly very young children, like nursery age. Even sorry.
It doesn't matter. We got plenty. We don't have to. So, and there are they. Does your dad still like listen to music, or he like listens to like Paul Simon or something?
He's been rocking out more because I actually bought him like a Spotify subscription, like
and
Spotify.
You can check and see what he listens to.
Exactly, because I share it. So sometimes I'll start. I'm heading to the subway, listening to whatever, and then it'll automatically switch to like listening to a lot of because it's like the algorithm, like.
I never use Spotify, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I specifically search for things, but for him, it's like, they'll make a list for him, and he's been listening to like Pentangle and like Foghat, which is cute. Like, the one time I was like working a gig during Fashion Week. This past Fashion Week, I was assisting a casting director, and she's like, Lili, like, can you put on some music? It was like this big studio. We're doing like the call with the models. I was like, yeah, can I put on like SoundCloud? Or, like, I was just like, I knew that if I tried to put like my Spotify on, it would like my dad's music would come on, which is exactly what happened.
What song came on?
It might have been like the Buena Vista Social Club
Oh.
soundtrack, which is lovely. But
yeah.
she specifically wanted to hear like reggae or whatever.
Oh.
And then it was just awkward because it kept switching. It was like fighting. I just went over to the receptionist, this young man. I was like, "Excuse me,
Can you do this,
yeah,
please?
can we use your phone the entire day?
Yeah.
Listen to music."
Oh God. So that's nice. And so sorry, I'm just trying. I like whenever you tell these stories, I like start picturing it in my head, and then I don't know what to even ask afterwards. I get a little. It's like
What do you want to hear about? How I discovered music in the first
yeah, I was
place?
asking that before, and then
sorry, yeah, tangent.
so it's okay. So what? I mean, how did we get to this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, your dad had this record collection.
Yeah, but that, you're not thinking your parents are cool. It's that was to sort of lay the groundwork, like, oh, these like freaky sounds were kind of seeping into my brain at that young age. Okay, but then, so basically, I was always kind of I knew, like, I don't know, I was into art as a child, drawing, whatever. So like Saturday's the Shabbat, day of rest. You're not really allowed to do anything. You can't turn on the lights or watch TV. You can't drive a car.
But if the lights are already on, can you leave them on?
Yeah.
You just can't do
or a
the
lot
switch.
of families will have like a timer or like a Shabbos goy.
What is that called?
Shabbos goy, and your neighbor who's can switch the light for you. There's a story about that. That's interesting, but so anyways, Shabbat, nothing to do. I'm like just literally like sitting in my room, like waiting for like God knows what. I knew that like I wanted to like be a grown up when I was a kid. I was just waiting basically to have my own life. But we'd get the Sunday newspaper, the Washington Post, and there's like the glossy magazine, like Parade magazine. I don't know if you got that.
Yeah.
It was like celebrity gossip or whatnot. But the back was often an advertisement that was very colorful, had like this grid, all this imagery. It was for like Columbia House Music Club.
Oh yeah.
So it's like 1 penny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this?
10 CDs for 1 penny.
What is, I was intrigued. It was like another world I could access.
So you get like Ned's Atomic Dustbin live.
Yeah, so I took a penny, I taped it, I chose at random.
Just by the pictures.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was like Sheryl Crow, Tuesday Night Music Club,
Ooh.
Green Day, Dookie, Ace of Base, Boys to Men 2, Janet Jackson, Rhythm Nation.
Oh, that's a good one.
How many did we get? 12? I don't.
Yeah, I don't. There was like it was 11 or 12.
I don't remember the other ones, but
that's a good idea.
Yeah, that was my introduction to like pop music as something that I became obsessed with, and like this is mine. Like this is something.
But you didn't like hear it on the radio first. You just saw this advertisement and you were like, I want this. This is.
I just like, what is this world?
Did your parents know you sent it off?
No, because when it was just the penny.
Oh,
but then, eventually
then
you had to write a check. And so I would go to my mother very meekly, like, can you? And she would do it. Like, she was the one that would, because she knew, like, there were so many of us. And she had to, like, I don't know.
It was your little thing.
Exactly.
That's cool. And then, did any of those CDs really like stick with you, or like Boys to Men? That's a pretty good one too. Huh?
I love that album.
And Janet Jackson's always good.
Yes. And the Green Day, that's where I got into like punk.
Yeah.
And then it's just.
And then you found out about Rancid and Operation Ivy and all that stuff.
And like.
But is this you're on the internet already at this point?
No,
Or not quite?
I'm old. Yeah. So. Internet, well, okay, when I was 12 and I had my bat mitzvah, I used the money that I received to buy a computer, like a desktop computer, and I was able to start accessing the internet, like using America Online.
AOL dial-up.
And then ICQ, I would chat with people from around the world.
Whoever.
I had like a a boyfriend who lived in Gothenburg, Sweden. So he taught me about a lot of.
Was
cool
it Luke
music.
Eargoggle?
I don't think so. No, his name was Frederick. Sometimes he would call me on the phone.
From Sweden, from
Yeah,
Gothenburg.
Gothenburg. He was much older. His screen name was, I don't want to say it, it was obscene.
And so that's why you chose
Sexually
him as your
No,
boyfriend.
because I didn't know what it was.
And so you're at this point you're 13. And you
12.
so you're 12 and you have a boyfriend in
Well,
Gothenburg.
he wasn't actually a boy, but he was someone I would chat with.
Yeah.
Because I was still very awkward.
Are you still in touch with him?
No. Yeah, I wonder about him.
Have you been to Gothenburg?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's-
And when I think Luke Eargoggle's coming here pretty soon.
Okay, is
and
he
we-
from Gothenburg?
Yeah.
Oh.
And we can ask him if you remember his real name. We can ask him if he knows him because it's a
Okay.
pretty small town
I
and
do know his name.
he knows a lot of people.
Okay.
We can maybe reconnect. I know another guy that lives there too, and we could ask him too. I think we should try to find him. And so what did he so he knew about music too, or where you're like, I like this, and he was like,
yeah, he would send me like it through the snail mail, like black and white photos of like pictures from like festivals, like Courtney Love. There was a picture of like Courtney Love like flashing the audience, and like Marilyn Manson. I don't remember.
so this is before CDRs and stuff like that. So this
I
is
think
like
so,
real
yeah.
letters
Mhm.
with like collages or something.
Yeah. So then I was like becoming obsessed.
This sounds pretty
Yeah.
serious.
It wasn't a very. It didn't last. I don't know. But yeah,
I guess pen pals. That's a good activity, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess did your parents know about this? I guess
Well,
they
like,
saw
yeah,
the letters
or
coming.
sometimes he would call on the phone. My mom would be like, "Who's this person?" I was like, "I don't know, it's a friend." And he was like much old. Yeah, he was just like a perv.
That's fucking
I
weird.
sent him a photo. Like, I don't know.
Whatever. I mean, but you're young. Your brain's not fully developed, and your
Exactly.
hormones are raging. You don't know how to act. But maybe you do. I don't know.
No.
Gee, you're not thinking clearly. You might have made some misjudgments. But maybe who cares? It's fine. Doesn't matter. You
Who
made it. You
cares?
made it through just fine. And so he told you about other music, and then were you going on any like chat rooms and forums or stuff that you
yeah.
remember?
Well, like in ICQ specifically.
There would be like rooms you could go into,
Sure,
like the whole
yeah.
room or something, or
Or like, yeah. But it was less like internet that I was learning about music and meeting people. But so one of my good friends from like the yeshiva ended up going to public school. And she also was like discovering music, or like actually her dad was into music and like owned a record store like back in the day. So he was into like punk and like cool music, and we were good friends. When she went to like public school, that's when I first started meeting like other public school people, and she started a band, and I would like tag along and like go to like their band practice.
And what is that weird? Like, is that like a taboo thing for you to do?
What do you mean?
To like hang out with public school kids?
I mean, I just did it. I didn't think about it, but like, yeah, on like Saturdays when everyone would hang out, like I'd have to like walk a mile to the bus stop. And then like, I couldn't like, well, I didn't have like a driver's license, and no one was driving a car on the street. Yeah. It's not like we didn't have like Uber back then and whatever.
I remember. No, I'm just curious if it was like scandalous or something. I guess that's my real
Probably. Yeah, I didn't
question.
I didn't
was it
care.
frowned upon that you did that? I know you did.
My parents never said like, please don't do that. I didn't ask them.
Yeah.
And they never, because I'm the middle child.
They're just whatever, as long as you're not getting arrested or
Literally, yeah.
or pregnant or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. Why not? You turned out fine, so it seems. So you're going to see this band practice.
My friend's band was a digital metal band.
So it's like Atari Teenage Riot.
Kind of, yeah. It was called Vigilant System.
Vigilant. See, these are pretty good
Yeah.
names. Classic. They're not like of a time. It could be a band now.
I think so.
And Silent Noise is still pretty good too.
Yeah.
Should use that for something, or maybe not. Let it be.
Yeah, let it be.
Did they put out records, or like
I
have a
don't-
CD or
I
something?
don't think so. I think they're all like married with kids now.
I wonder if they told their wife or their kids that they were in a band called Silent Noise.
Yeah.
And what's the other band called? What?
Vigilant System.
Vigilant System. And so these are kids from the public school. Are they
yeah.
older than you?
Like 1 or 2 years older. I guess there were a few members in that band that were, 'cause like my good friend Marla was like my age. And
So
then
she's like a freshman or a sophomore or something?
I guess, yeah. Yeah, maybe
like
sophomore.
15 or 16.
Yeah. And but then there was this guy named Pete that joined the band who, like, I don't know how old he was, but he was like the DJ, and he had spent time in like the Netherlands. He was like scratching, and it was like kind of like new metal, like digital metal or whatever.
And so what year? This is like 1995 or something? Something like that.
Yeah, late 90s ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1996.
Yeah. But yeah, like Ari was talking about the club Phantasmagoria.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I used to go there too. But also like the 930 Club was a very important
remember that.
venue. So I would like
That was all ages.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that was my thing. I would walk the mile to the bus stop like on Saturdays, get on the Red Line train
Uh-huh.
to downtown DC, and that's where I first started going to shows. It was very exciting.
And what do you remember? What bands you saw, or just local bands, or whatever?
A mix, but actually,
Just
my first show ever that I went to was my sister actually drove me and 2 friends because it was Beck,
Oh, that's cool.
and his opening acts were Atari Teenage Riot and the Cardigans.
Okay.
So my sister she's so cool. I love her.
Yeah.
Shout out. That was at like George Mason University in
Okay.
Virginia. So that was like, oh my God, shows. I gotta start going to shows.
Well, that's like the Odale tour or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
It was sick.
We found the what today. Me and Sam Consiglio were looking at the CDs at work, and we found the One Foot in the Grave CD.
Hell yeah.
And he was like looking at the cover, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't realize the guy that bartends at Daddy's was on this record." So he like opened it, and it's like the guy from Daddy's was like in the Beck's band. That's my. We were gonna listen to it today, but I didn't. It didn't make the rotation. But
Next time.
that's my Beck story. So you started going to shows, and this is like you're 15, 16, and you're like, okay, I'm going to every show, and every Saturday, you take the bus into DC or wherever.
Yeah, DC.
And then you spend the whole day there, and then did you have to be back by a certain time, or not really?
Like,
Spend the night at somebody's house?
No, not yet. Yeah, when I was younger, yeah, I would come back. But so at one of the shows I went to, it was Love and Rockets, and their opening act was Orgy.
Okay.
They had the like, Blue Monday cover.
Yeah.
And at that show, so at this point, I was maybe 15 or 16. I was really getting into glam rock. That was like my
So
life.
what? That's like T-Rex or something.
T-Rex, David Bowie, Roxy Music, and then also like the kind of 90s, like kind of newer, like Placebo and like Pulp, the sort of glam influenced British bands. I would go to the Britpop dance night called the Mousetrap.
Okay.
Anyways, I was like, I decided I wanted to start a glam rock band. I wanted to be in one. Like this was my path.
Yeah.
And I really wanted a boyfriend who wore makeup. I was obsessed with.
Did you play any instruments at this point, or you're just like?
So at that point, I think I had a guitar, and I was learning to play it by looking at tablature, on the internet. So I met this girl who was like a public school girl outside the show, and we kind of started talking about music and glam.
What's her name?
Carmen.
Carmen. Hello, Carmen.
And we decided to start a band, and that was my first band.
What was the name?
It was called Pocket Rockets.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So it's kind of like twee, glam, or wannabe glam.
So you
Just like weird.
you
I
both
don't know.
played guitar?
She
Or
played bass.
she played bass
and then
and-
her friend Matt was the drummer.
and where did you go practice at?
At Matt's family's home.
Because the drummer can be
Mhm.
loud. So you go to Matt's house. He's
Yeah.
also in Silver Spring, or
Yeah, and like public school. Like,
so there's like a public school scene that you just kind of went over and
yeah,
let's-
just normal people.
yeah, just
regular
yeah,
folks, nice people.
and what are these kids' family lives like? Are they're also like just
It was
whatever
chill,
suburban kids?
Yeah, yeah.
They're not like
Nothing
any
super-
religious. They're not like highly Catholic or like some
Mhm.
weird like
Yeah.
other thing weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't have any religious like connection. So it's
Yeah.
like strange to me that it's like such a big part of people's lives. So that's hence all the questions. You know, like I
course.
just don't have that. In my background, I'm like my parents are like Episcopalian, which is kind of like Catholic light or
Mm.
something, Church of England. So I would just go to church because we would go out to eat afterwards.
Oh yeah.
And I never. It wasn't really like a. I don't know. I don't know why you did it. In Texas, you kind of just do things because it's like to not be frowned upon or something. I don't know if you really believe it or not. You know, so I don't really have a religious connection. You know, so it's just I wonder like when you're like going to these kids' house, like are their parents that are like, what's up with this like yeshiva girl?
I mean,
coming over here?"
I wasn't like wearing like garb, you know. I wasn't
But
wearing
they
like
know
a long.
they know who your parents are, and you know what I mean. Like
My
there's,
parents are cool. It's just like
but is there?
they're observant, but like
It wasn't ever like a thing.
at
between
that
anybody.
point, I think I had like a driver's. Like I was becoming more and more independent.
Yeah.
I was wearing, you know, pants and like and kind of.
Is that
cool
weird that people wear
looking-
pants? I mean,
No,
no.
I mean,
Is it unusual?
I mean,
Like at your school,
Well,
would you wear pants?
no, I weren't allowed to.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying.
But outside of school, I wore pants.
But outside of school, would the other girls wear pants?
Some of them.
Yeah. These are my
Yeah.
real questions.
My
here.
friends, you know, my friend Rivka, she was from Baltimore. She took me like to my first like music club experience.
Yeah.
Like her sister lived in Amsterdam. So
Oh.
she was. Yeah.
Where was that? In Baltimore.
I forget the name of the venue.
In Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
There was was that the place? It has like a mezzanine.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. A blur.
Yeah.
But okay, so you're in a band called Pocket Rocket now with your friend, I forgot her name,
Carmen.
and Matt is the drummer,
Mm-hmm.
and you're practicing at Matt's parents' house.
Yes.
And did you guys start playing shows, or you're just like working on songs?
I mean, yeah, it was exciting, and we're young. I was not yet cynical and jaded. I was
So you're just having fun.
reaching out. Yeah, so I'm like, yeah. We made like a demo tape, and I made like a collage artwork, and I would
How
send
did you
it
write
out.
songs that fast?
Excuse me.
That's okay.
What do you mean?
Like you just went over to this guy's house with your friend.
Well, it was mostly like Carmen and I would get together, and she would have she was the one that wrote most of the lyrics. It was like she had like her notebook, and yeah, we would just sort of.
So you wrote these songs.
It wasn't really very sophisticated.
They're like,
you know,
okay, A, D, G.
pretty much.
It's changed back. Now it's G, F. And so, and then you immediately had the confidence to go and play shows. So are you singing?
Not
also?
even confidence. I just didn't even know that
had
that
no
was.
idea.
Yeah, we were so young, and I did not sing. I did like background vocals sometimes. The Carmen was the vocalist.
And she's playing bass.
Yeah, we were all so young and didn't realize like sort of effect we had on like the older people in the scene, and they were like into it for various reasons. Like, oh, these teenagers singing about. But it was cool, and I met a lot of people, some of whom I'm still in touch with. But that's sort of how I sort of started linking up with like the scene, like the Beautiful Swimmers scene. So yeah, like when I started college, I was still playing in that band, but less frequently. And because I went to the University of Maryland, so
Okay.
that's where all those folks went as
Yep.
well. and there was like the radio station, like which Ari worked at, and sometimes like we would play shows and like with Food for Animals, which is Andrew's
rap band.
rap group.
Weird. And
Yeah.
so Pocket Rocket was around for a while. Pocket
For
Rockets?
like my like high school, like
So several years.
for a few years, yeah.
And so you would just, did you ever go to the studio and like
So yeah, we recorded a record because Matt's like half brother ran like an indie label
called Discord?
called Kindercore.
I never heard the name.
Yeah, from Athens, and he was very generous to offer us like to record for like a few days down there.
So you went down to Athens
Yeah,
with all your stuff.
I mean, just
your
my guitar, I think. So we recorded with.
And you're in high school or you're a freshman in college or something?
I think I was 18. So I think it was like after I graduated from high school.
So that summer or something.
Instead of like going to Israel like everyone did for a year to study in another yeshiva, I was like, oh, I'm gonna record in Athens.
You're not gonna like go join the military or something.
Yeah.
No. Jeez. And what was like? I don't think I've ever been to Athens. What I mean?
It's like a college town.
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, the '90s were pretty open. Like people, nobody judged anybody, and everybody was all kind of hanging out together.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? What happened? How come everybody hates each other now? I don't know. Was it just an age thing or what?
I don't know, all the chemicals or whatever.
The chemicals from what?
Food and
Chicken
the clothing
nuggets.
and the carpeting, and we're just suffering.
You don't think there was more chemicals back then?
Yeah.
So you go to Athens and you make this record, and it comes out on Kindercore? Or?
No, so we like recorded a bunch of songs and we had them CDR. So I knew that there was like two big labels in DC, Discord obviously, and I always respected Discord and the artists.
Yeah.
But I never really
Got
was into it at that point. I respected them. I was like, oh, it's like these guys are like screaming. Like
It was kind of late.
But then I was like, we became friendly with like Ian Svenonius and like the makeup, like that sort of scene. I was more intrigued by because of like the glam and like.
Yeah.
And then there's another label called Teen Beat Records.
Oh yeah.
Which was more like arty or like.
It's like unrest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna send the CD to Teen Beat because I knew like it wouldn't fit with Discord and like just naive and like I'm like young, and so I got was it an email? Yeah. The guy who runs Teen Beat, Mark Robinson, who's in Unrest, he like wrote me an email and was like, hi, I listened to your CD, like it's really great or whatever. And it was like kind of vague, and I was like freaking out, like what does that mean? But then he ended up releasing it.
That's
which
cool.
is really cute. Weird.
You should put that on, like every time you have a
No,
gig, you
it's
should
so
put
weird.
Teen Beat in parentheses after your thing.
Yeah.
That'd be like way cooler than all the other labels.
Yeah.
I was a big Unrest and Teen Beat fan, and I mean I remember seeing Unrest, and they played with, it was like Unrest and Stereo Lab, like, and they like played at Lollapalooza on the second stage. I was like super into it. I never I don't know what other bands were on Teen Beat. It was like all his bands, like Air Miami and
True Love Always was like a twee
I don't
kind of.
remember that. It's a little late on.
Yeah.
I was more.
There was like another teen pop group on that label called the Rondells, and like I thought they were so fucking cool, and like I just wanted to like be friends with them. And
Well, I'm gonna go and look for Pocket. Is it Pocket Rockets or
it's,
Pocket Rocket?
The first one.
Pocket Rockets.
It's not. Yeah, it's embarrassing, but yeah,
It's okay.
It's a document.
I'm just curious because I'd be proud that I was on Teen Beat.
Yeah.
I think that's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
You know, because I think it. I don't know if people know it now as much, but at the time it was a pretty big deal. You would like whenever there was a new Teen Beat release, you would just buy it. I think that you could even get a subscription, and they would just like send you whatever the new 7-inch was. That was like full on indie rock, mid '90s, like a I don't even know what it was called. Indie rock, I guess.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. And so now you're in touch with Mark Robinson, and you have a record on Team B. And what does anything else come of that band, or you?
It kind of faded because the other two members, started college. Um, so when I was in college, I was becoming interested in like world music.
What were you studying in?
Well, I ended up focusing on like art history and like especially non-Western art. So I became obsessed with Japanese art,
Okay.
and that was like a big deal for me.
And that's early on in college, like starting freshman year.
I don't think
Took
it
a
was
couple of years.
freshman year, because I really didn't know what I want. I just knew I was supposed to go to college, so
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah. I was studying like Russian literature, and I was obsessed with that, and like studying Russian language and like German language and just everything. I was like gobbling it up. It's like, oh, this is like culture.
It's pretty crazy that you're like expected to know what you're gonna do the rest of your
Fucking
life
weird,
when you're
yeah.
like 19.
No.
You're like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do Russian literature. You know,
Mm-hmm. I thought maybe I
I'm
would be
gonna
an
be a writer.
academic,
Yeah.
because I was really into it, but things didn't quite work out.
Yeah.
But anyways,
You're still pretty academic.
at the school there was a koto ensemble, which I signed up for, and I played in for as many semesters as I could.
So the music, like musical instruments, you could pick them up pretty easily.
I'm not very good at playing, but I was so excited and like passionate about learning about
You just did it.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not good. I don't know how to play. I don't have the like attention span.
They were
or-
just happy they could like have enough people for the ensemble.
Yeah, and I love my sensei.
And what were the other kids like in the ensemble? Was it Japanese kids or?
There might have, I don't even know. There was a lot of Chinese people
Yeah.
and like dorky white people. So like the school ensemble also was a part of like this like Silver Spring. It was called the Washington Toho Koto Society. So
Say the what? Toho Koto.
Toho Koto Society.
Toho is that? So that is what's Toho?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Oh. Toho Koto.
Mm.
So it's a Japanese phrase
Yeah.
probably.
Sumimasen.
And so you're. So what happened? This is a big deal. You become
then I'm
Japanese.
like, oh, fuck. Sound. And then I'm starting to smoke weed. It's like all fucking like, it's not just about making sounds and like filling in the silent space. You can also think about like the space in between the sounds and
Yeah.
like negative space.
So you're smoking weed.
I was starting to smoke weed.
Who was the first person that gave it to you? Do you remember?
Carmen. Yeah.
Carmen. Oh,
In her
Carmen.
car. It didn't really hit
The first time.
Yeah, of course. Carmen was living in Pittsburgh.
And so she was going to school in Pittsburgh, and you're in Maryland.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty far apart, right? It's
Yeah.
It's like
so
5 hours or something. It's pretty.
Yeah, we didn't really keep up with the band. I started a different band in DC, like when I was like 20 or 19. That band was called Hits.
Okay. With the S or a Z.
With an S.
Okay. Hits.
That was like me, my friend Jessica, and our friend Lindsay. And that was sort of, so I was getting into like more like avant, like non-Western sounds.
And this is while you're in the
Koto. I was also playing in the Balinese gamelan ensemble. So I was like geeking the fuck out. And
But that stuff, the gamelan stuff is like, that's where everything is like a circle, right? The sequence.
yeah, sort of phasing.
Yeah.
You
So that's like techno. I'm just kidding.
kind of. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I remember that it's like don't they always have it, the music is written in a circle?
It's not even written. Like we're just following.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then you play a note at a certain time. You're like,
So I
and some-
played the like, sort of the more bassier metallophone.
the big one.
No, it was small, medium. it was called the jublug. I don't know if I'm not pronouncing that, but
Yeah.
it's sort of boom, boom, boom.
So but you would have to play it like every whatever, every two beats or something, or every.
Keep-
And that seems really fun to do with a lot of people.
It was really fun, and we also performed with dancers, like at our recital, which was really.
Because I mean, you're like in there and like everybody like, okay, you like get in the groove and everybody plays their note at the right time and it comes together.
But then it was
in the
also
song.
it all came together. We
Yeah.
didn't have to follow sheet music. We're just watching the leader. It was cathartic.
But how do they teach it to you? They just say, okay, you play now. Oh,
Yeah.
They like point to you or something.
Yeah, you just sort of
Oh, that's
learn
cool.
it.
Or you hear a song first also, or you're.
Well, like he would like play it sometimes.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I always remember, you like take your world music class in college and they like give you the gamelan music and you get to hear it, but you never get to like play it. So that's pretty cool. And so you're in a new band called The Hits at the same time as all this world music. These are with other
Just
different
school.
people from your other band.
No. The world music.
No. The hits.
Hits were like two girls who didn't go to my school but went to like other schools in the DC area.
Part of the scene.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was like the first time I was like doing like more experimental whatever. Like I still played guitar, but I was becoming more tuned into like the like avant bands in DC, like Metamatics, shout out Frankie. The Cranium, which is sick. That's Frankie's sister, Raquel, and that was sort of pre-gang dance.
Okay.
Like so influential, so cool.
I don't know that stuff. I have to
Okay.
visit it.
Yeah. So we were just. So my friend Jessica like inherited a drum set, and she and Lindsay like they didn't play music. They didn't even like music. That's the thing. Like they just didn't care. But I was like, let's start a band.
Yeah.
So like I played guitar and recorder, and Lindsay had like a saxophone from like when she was in like high school. She played sax, and then Jessica played drums, and none of us knew how to really play. And it was pretty awesome.
And you would go play shows.
Yeah, I think we might have played with Manhunter at least once.
Sweet.
We played with Orthrealm for sure.
I don't see it.
Orthrealm was like a duo, really sick. I don't even know, like.
So what, like, can you tell me about like a typical set, like you're opening for these bands or you're headlining?
Definitely opening.
And you're playing at what, these like teen all ages clubs?
Well, like at this point there were some cool DIY venues in DC. There was a place called The Warehouse next door.
And this is just like with old couches with sheets over them.
Sort of. Yeah. That particular place was like more like an like event, like gallery type space.
Okay. And so you're playing for what small crowds, like what, 50 to 100 people, or
definitely smaller than that.
16 to
just
35
it's
people.
like friends, like scene people, but
and you're playing like what, 20-minute sets?
Yeah, definitely.
Like 4 songs.
Like yeah.
So you would start off with the one you kind of practice and then see what happened.
Sort of, yeah. We would practice.
But are these like pure improv at this point, or you still kind of had songs?
We had songs. Yeah, we had songs.
Well, because you said it was more experimental, so I think it's a valid question.
Sure.
I'm not trying to be insulting or anything.
No, I'm not.
So
insulting.
that's the hits, and did you get on?
Not the hits. Hits.
That's hits.
Hits. And it was all caps.
Pardon me. And so did you get on Team Beat with that record?
No, we self-released a CDR.
CDR. Do you have any copies left?
I wish.
Oh man.
Some people in Japan probably do.
There's
There's some like people out there who
it's
are
on
like,
Discogs for sale.
Oh.
And what did it come out like? Can you compare it to something, or is it
It's fucked up.
just some weird shit? It's like how many songs are
some
on
like Wicker Man, like retard shit. I don't know, can I use that word? No, not even. Just like, cause like I was playing. There was a recorder, that sound.
Yeah, I know what. Like a plastic one.
Yes.
Or a wooden one.
Plastic.
The brown one.
Yeah.
It's probably never a good idea to
sort
have a
of, yeah.
recorder in your band.
It was a wonderful idea.
What about? I mean, I can't. Can you think? What's a band that has a recorder in it? Or can you think of a record with the one on it? I know there was like that band, the Hooters or whatever.
Like Asherah Temple probably has.
Yeah, but they probably use wooden ones. It's like all like serious German wooden recorder. Yeah, but is Asherah Temple? Are they really? That's like one of those bands you like pretend like you like, and then when you go to listen to it, it's like not very good.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work to find the songs you like, though. All right, so hits are playing shows, and you're in college, and you got
Yeah, we only lasted like a few months. Yeah, but it was a very fine few months. We had we played in Philadelphia with Orth Realm and another band called Fast Forward. Can't remember. I think one of the girls from like Slant 6 was in that band.
I mean, these bands are like vaguely familiar. So this is probably like 2000 or something like that. Something.
Yeah.
Before you can always remember 9/11. It was before 9/11.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm like. I'm already a little bit out of the indie
So
rock
it was after 9/11 actually, because on 9/11 I had to wake up very early because I had my 19th century Russian literature class, and I remember like seeing the news, and I was like, oh, weird. It was like it wasn't.
So you're in DC for that? I've never talked to anybody about
in Maryland. Yeah, it was weird because my dad worked on Pennsylvania Avenue, and there was like all these rumors, like
there's another plane coming.
So I went back to my parents' house that night because I was like, I didn't know what was going on.
And he was okay.
Yeah, I mean there was the Pentagon, but there were rumors like, the National Mall is on fire and like stuff.
And then there was all the thing that said it was fake or something.
Yeah, the Jews.
I don't know who did it, but that's what I've never.
It's a hologram.
Was it I mean, I've never asked. I mean, I was in New York and I watched the thing fall from my roof, but I've never really talked to anybody that was in DC for it. I never thought about it. I guess I was kind of being like, 9/11. That was a New York thing. I always forget. I always forget that the Pentagon was hit by a plane, also supposedly or whatever. Depends on who you ask. But what happened did the whole city shut down for a while too, or what? Like New York was dead for like a week.
Just that night, it was very disorienting, and I was like in college. I was like living on campus at that point, so I wasn't really out in the city. And I went back to my parents' house. I don't know if I went back to school the next day. I don't remember if like classes were canceled. Quite possibly.
Probably.
But then it didn't. It was sort of things didn't shut down.
It didn't like shut because it wasn't really that much damage. It was like hit where there was like construction or something.
I guess so, and like the Pentagon was a little further.
Nobody uses it anyways. Or some weird stuff. So this is the internet is starting to be like a pretty big part of your life. At this point, right? Everybody has a cell phone.
I didn't have a cell phone yet. That was, or maybe like
just starting 2001.
I think my mom had a cell phone, and she gave her phone to me.
And so you got the hand-me-down phone. And what happened? Did you finish college?
Yeah.
In Maryland. So you graduated with your
just sort of half-out. Yeah, it was just like I was daydreaming. I always was just
smoking weed.
Yeah, or like dating like weird older guys and like skipping classes.
How much older?
Older.
Like 60s?
No. But I graduated. I think I had to do like one extra semester, and I went to like a few classes in the
then you were
summer.
done.
I just I knew like I wasn't like I had like a weird traumatic experience at one point where I shifted from being really excited about being like an academic into like totally not. So
it's like reality set in or something.
Yeah, something that was like dark, but anyways, I did graduate, and 10 days after I graduated college I moved to San Francisco, where I lived for 2 years.
So that's 2002?
2005 or 6.
Okay.
It was like winter. It was like December 2005.
And so by that point, San Francisco was pretty expensive and kind of techie.
Not it was
quite.
beginning.
Yeah, it was just starting.
Because like I was living in the Mission, because I moved out there because my boyfriend at the time was living out there, and like we had another friend join us. So like we had cheap rent, and we were living in the Mission, which was still quite sketchy. But like maybe like a year in, like our friend who lived like a block away, there was like a wine bar that opened up below his place, so we kind of knew like, oh,
We can get a job there or something.
or
Or not.
or that it's starting to get a little gentrified.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Sorry, I saw it differently. Yeah, I mean,
I had interest. I had like 3 jobs at one point. Like my first job, I was working at an Orthodox Jewish school, like in the morning, like tutoring like Russian immigrant children, like Hebrew. And then I worked during the day for a Scientologist, like in her office. She was like, I was like an assistant. And then evenings, I was a waitress at a Palestinian-owned Moroccan restaurant. So it was a very multi-culti.
yeah, San Francisco's like that though.
Yeah.
It's a weird place.
Yeah, I
think-
hated it.
yeah,
I was
I-
not
I did-
happy.
I did
I was
too.
depressed.
I lived there for 2 years also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah.
I lived there from like 1997 to 1999.
I had the worst panic attacks there.
I don't know what it's. I think what I think is that there's no seasons.
Yeah.
It like does something to you, and it does something to the people that live there.
Yeah, you're kind of numb. Little
It's a
zombie.
weird place.
And like everyone was like chilling, and I don't really know how to chill. And
Yeah.
that's my own personal issue, and like so my like anxiety was like through the roof. And yeah, the no seasons, like, oh, we're gonna go to the park or we're gonna go to the beach, and I was just like, what the fuck month is it? Like,
Yeah, it's something's weird there. It's one of those places, like, there's all these like, they have those like geographical lines, like the special vortex. I don't even know what they're called. There's like supposed to be one in Washington D.C. or there's got to be something weird. I don't know what it is. It's a weird place. I don't know. I don't know why I keep saying all this bad stuff about SF, but yeah. Something's weird.
Yeah,
Something's weird. I can't quite describe it. Maybe it's just because I'm not from there.
I thought it was kind of corny too, like some of the like
Yeah.
culture.
I mean,
whatever.
when I went there, it was 19. I just went there because, well, first of all, I went there because we used to go to Gilman Street, or when we would drive every summer. This is like 1993, 94, 95, and we'd go see like Green Day or Bikini Kill or whoever, and this is like full on. Like that's when it was super cool. So we had this like connection with, and we would go for that. And then I also skateboarded, so I would go just to skateboard. So it's because that's where skateboarding was. So I had that connection with it. And right when I moved there, the Amoeba Records opened, the one on at the end of Hate, and so it was pretty okay. But I don't know what it is. I can't really describe it. But when I go back now, I don't know what it is. I just don't. I'm just like, there's like so many gnarly homeless people that are like super aggressive, and you have to just like treat them like shit in order for them to leave you alone. And I don't want to do that, and it's like, it's part of your daily life. And then I don't know. It's just a weird place. I can't quite. So you did, what happened there? You just hung out for a couple years?
Yeah, like I worked those jobs, and I was like playing around recording solo music. Because at that point, like I had learned how to use like a preamp or whatever to record into my laptop, and I was basically trying to replicate the sounds like from the Koto and the gamelan ensembles, because I just missed playing it, and I missed the sounds and the way they made me feel. So I was using whatever like electroacoustic kind of. And I had obtained like a drum machine, the Boss, like Dr. Rhythm DR5. So just
like the little silver one with the
it's like charcoal gray. And yeah, so recorded some music, and I actually like self-released a CDR. And again, like young and like naive, I took it over to what was the Aquarius Records.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is, you wanna? So they took it like on commission. Consignment.
I used to live right on Divisadero, and I lived on Page and Divisadero.
Okay.
Like so
Yeah,
that was
it's a
right.
great
I used to go there also all the time.
Yeah.
I think they just recently moved some.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. I'm so out of touch.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just gonna say another bad thing about San Francisco if I keep talking. So you may. So I mean, that's another thing too. That's interesting about the time that you came up in, is that technology it's really new. You know, it's the first time that you were able to like have a computer and have a sound card and record stuff by yourself and burn a CD and print the artwork.
Yeah.
And you could make a whole CD like start to finish completely by yourself with no one's help if you had a computer, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
that was like, you know, before in like 1999, like maybe you could record on your computer
Mm-hmm.
and then you'd have to like take it somewhere else to like
Mm-hmm.
burn it or whatever. But I mean, 2006 or so, that was like when it finally happened that it was like full on, you could do it all
Mhm.
yourself. I mean, and what did you notice other people doing it then too, or around you, or this was just
like other friends. Yeah, we would trade like CDRs or make mix CDs or.
and these were just people you met in while you were there in San Francisco?
I didn't meet too many new people, but it was
Yeah.
like friends, you know, that I had that moved out there. Cause like Jason moved out
Oh,
there.
that's right. He
yeah.
was. Okay. Oh, okay.
And Ivy. I don't know
Mm.
if you know Ivy.
Yeah. God, okay, so I didn't know that you were a DC person. I always thought you
Yeah.
were from like upstate New York or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
just always had like some like racist, but some I don't know what.
Interesting.
I don't know, yeah. I got. I'm from Texas.
Yeah,
you
people
know.
are like, "Where are you from?" I'm like,
Yeah, but she's kind of like.
I like to make up. Like,
I don't know. I just because you like appeared one day and I was like, I don't know. She's got to be from like. You know.
Oh, because I think I probably met you through like Sean O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
Who went to Bard and maybe.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
didn't know
know.
where you came from, so I just made this story up in my head that you were like from like Nyack or something. You know, like.
I'll start using that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
When guys try to like pick me up, like, oh, one guy was like, "Are you from the Republic of Georgia?" Because like you know like trying to be all like cool. I'm like, I'm from Maryland. I like to like disappoint guys who have their like fetishes. Like I'm from Maryland. But
But yeah, sorry, I made up this whole story, but
I like it. I'm gonna use it. I'm
So-
from
so-
Nyack.
so San Francisco. There was, I mean that's when you say Jason. That's Jason Leckwas. He's Steve
course,
Summers
yeah.
now, and he was
He was always Steve
he
Summers.
was always Steve Summers. I found a record the other day, and one of the people in the band was called Steve Summers. It was like some like metal.
Whoa.
I don't remember what new wave. I don't know. I took a picture of the guy and like had his name under it. And I like sent it to him, but he's probably already seen. I don't. It was a pretty obscure record. I was like, "Is this where you got your name?" I didn't ask him, but I thought. But speaking of him, but so he's out there, and what as he had been in Manhunter already.
Mhm.
Manhunter was still going, I guess.
I
He had already done
Well,
that tour with Ron and
think
like
so.
how aware was
Yeah.
there like any
I don't remember.
what was going
Yeah.
on, you know, like was there any connection to like what we're doing now or
Yeah, well, that's like I started to go to like parties, like I forget the name of the club, like Derek May or like
so you'd start to go see like DJs
or there was
instead
like
of
a
bands.
party like all like donuts. It was like you know like disco and like Italo, like krautrock. But I was just really depressed. Like I went to all this stuff, but I wasn't happy, and I was sort of a blur at the time.
Yeah, I mean they got lots of weed there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just a weird place. I can't really describe it. I guess I mean what is that? Everybody, I don't know. Isn't there like
The
some?
coldest winter I ever spent was summer in San Francisco. I think it's supposedly Mark Twain quote, but then it was like, oh, he didn't actually say it. It's falsely attributed.
Yeah, I mean you're always like that's what's weird there is you're always kind of cold.
I hate it. Yeah, this damp cold to
yeah,
your
and you're
bones.
like take a shower and
your
you're like
towel is
always
not
cold.
dry.
Your bed's cold.
I
And
hate
like
that because I have poor circulation and I'm generally always cold. So
oh.
it was bad.
It's always cold there. I mean, you know, you get this like it's kind of nice in the morning when the sun is out,
Yeah.
and then it's cloudy in the afternoon when the fog, and then then it gets nice again at night a little bit for. But I don't know. I mean, I just lived there to skateboarding. The skateboarding was really fun,
That's great.
and yeah, we smoked weed also.
Respect.
So you left that place. You're like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to leave. I wanted to go back to Japan too because I had gone there in the summer of 2006. My first time. I went there to speak at a conference actually in Hiroshima.
About what?
It was a conference on East Asian calligraphy education.
And you were an expert in this.
No. No.
So you just applied.
No, I didn't apply. I was asked to be on a panel of 4 students from the U.S. I took one class of Chinese calligraphy, like my last semester of school. And I'm left-handed, okay? It's the technique, like writing calligraphy, it's not easy for anyone who's not used to it. But as a lefty too, specifically because there's a very particular order of how you will write something, like the stroke order. So my teacher was impressed that I was able to do pretty decent calligraphy despite being left-handed. So like I randomly got an email saying like, we would like you to participate in this conference. We will fly you to Hiroshima. We'll like pay for everything. I said yes. I had to present a paper, but it was like...
So they're like watching you do calligraphy left-handed, being like, whoa.
I don't know. So they were like, we want you to discuss. So I had like this like one-on-one like sort of this like phone conference with this elder who I'd never met, this like this like master calligrapher. He's like, I want you to talk about left-handedness is not a handicap in learning to write Chinese calligraphy. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll write a paper or a talk. It was like 5 minutes or whatever. No one really paid attention to me. No one really understood English, really. It was mostly like Chinese, Korean, like Taiwanese, Japanese. It was amazing. I met...
So you're talking about Chinese calligraphy in Japan?
Mm-hmm. But since I had that trip, I booked some shows because I had a contact in Tokyo, this guy named Shino, who would come to DC like every summer because he was obsessed with the music scene in DC.
Okay.
And he would come, there's this festival every year called Fort Reno.
Okay.
And it's a free festival, like summertime. I think it was like every night or once a week. I can't remember, but bands would play. So my teenage pop band played, and like Fugazi always was like that was always the last show. I believe Manhunter probably played. Definitely Q and Not You.
Yeah, weird. So I shared a studio with Harris for a little while.
Nice. Yeah, he's nice.
He was in Q and Not You.
Yeah. And Matt Borlick, who wore 2 belts.
I don't know him.
He left the band.
He wore 2 belts.
Yeah.
Like a gunslinger.
It was like one was like a white belt. Yeah,
Were they
like
both?
mod.
Were they both in the straps?
I don't remember.
I don't know anything about that. I don't know. Weird. And so you play at this festival as with your band, the Teen Beat band.
Yeah.
Which was called Pocket Rockets.
Yeah.
And this was years later, so you remembered all the songs.
No, it was like no, we didn't.
No,
it was in that time period. I'm sort of rewinding how I had that Tokyo connection.
Okay. So
because we'd all be like, "Who's this Japanese kid?"
Okay.
Because he was there by himself. I just really into it.
So while you're on Teen Beat with this band, you went over and played there, and then so you had this contact.
No, I didn't. I played solo.
Ah,
yeah.
Okay.
Because I just went for the conference, and I was like, well, I would definitely want to extend my trip and go to Tokyo. I want to go to Kyoto, Nara.
Yeah.
I'd studied, I was obsessed with the 12th century culture, the Heian period, and like I wanted to see a lot of things. So Shino set up some shows in Tokyo, and that was like my first time playing like 51717.
Okay.
Live.
But that's really, it's like Lili and Hacker, Lili S.
I don't know. Yeah, that's what you. Yeah, it's good.
No.
It's what you read.
It's what I want it to be. Because I had a problem with it for years. That I would always just call it Lili S.
That's great.
Is that what
it's not really meant to be pronounced.
Yeah.
You just sort of look at it I'm Lily.
Yeah, that's what I think of it. When I see it, I'm like, oh, that's
I
Lily.
like that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what.
It's
I never. It took me a while. I was like I had to practice it today. I was like, what is the
it's
number?
very
How do you say the
awkward.
number?
You don't want to say it. It's weird.
51717. It's not.
Yeah.
Once I practiced it enough, I got it.
It's
but-
more visual. Like,
Yeah.
you see it.
It
and
took
you
me
know
a-
what it is.
It took me a while, but before
So-
it meant something else to me. So now it's like changed.
Mm.
It took effort for it to change though. So that's where that started. What did you do? And like, you played
At
your
the
guitar.
show, no, I had an Imbira, like a little thumb piano that I
Yeah.
had hooked up to
With some
like a
contact
contact
mics.
mic. Yeah, it
Yep.
was like pretty raw, pretty bad. But I
With
might have had
vo-
like a backing track on Audacity with like some rhythmic stuff.
and some vocals.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, something. Yeah, it was formative.
And you're gonna play. You played like the same thing, 20 minutes set.
I
Kinda.
think so. Yeah, it definitely wasn't more than.
You're not playing like an hour and a half or something.
Hell no.
Like some and
I'm not gonna wank on it.
oh geez. And this is the first time you play like that, or this is this?
Yeah. I went from Hiroshima, the first place I went to in Japan. It was like July. It was really hot.
How did you get so much guts?
I mean, I was a middle child. I grew up in this community. I was like, I want to have my own life. Like, I had this drive, and I was not cynical yet. I wasn't. I was always depressed, but I like had this curiosity. Yeah.
Because that's crazy.
I didn't even think about any elements of danger or it being crazy.
But it just that you. It wasn't. You weren't. You weren't. I can't imagine doing that. It just seems so scary.
Why scary?
I don't know. Because there's people, you're like standing in front of people like doing stuff. Maybe, I mean, it's my own insecurities, I guess.
That's what's fun about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
To put yourself in, like, were you thinking that like this is going to make me feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always nervous.
And you think that that's
it's
good
exciting.
to put yourself in that situation?
It's like I'm being put in this situation because someone else believes in me or they want to book me, and I can't, like, I say yes, and then I'm not going to back down unless I'm like really sick or like something happens. But it's scary. It's fucking scary every time. I played at like a like underground rave this past Saturday on a boat to like a bunch of Zoomers who were like really great, and I was fucking nervous.
What's a Zoomer?
It's like the new generation after millennials.
Oh. And what I mean, and so like, is that like I mean, I've heard that before, that you're supposed to do scary stuff. Is that
What do you mean?
Like
Jump out of an airplane?
No, like put yourself in like if you're scared to do something, that's what you should do. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you grow as a person? Is that
I
like?
guess.
Or is that does that have anything to do with it, or you're just
not?
Why do you put yourself in those situations? Because it just seems so scary to me.
For me, like the music thing was a way out of like this other world that like just felt. I knew that there was something else I needed to discover. Okay, so I found it within the music community.
Yeah.
It's like these people. So it just I just never thought like about playing live, about it being. It's just part of, it's like it's a ritual. You know what I mean? It's like, so I'm being asked. It's like when you're in like the synagogue, the men, they're called up for an aliyah. It's like, every week you read from the Torah. So there's different people. It's like a rotating cast within this community, and you do it. And you don't really think it's an honor,
Yeah.
And I'm getting kind of tipsy, like nostalgic or emotional.
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. I mean, if anything makes you uncomfortable, you just say it.
No.
We don't have to talk about it.
I'm triggered.
No, it's cool. I mean, it's cool. I guess it's because me personally, like I have no problem DJing, but for some reason, this like going up and just producing the music yourself seems like such a scary thing to me.
Oh, like live or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you do this podcast, and then you're cool with it. Right?
Yeah.
This is fucking scary.
Yeah, I guess so. But I really like talk radio
Yeah.
and like Johnny Carson and David Letterman, and like I think it's so cool for them to see people that are creative and have other people like see what they're like, you know what I mean? So like if you're a little kid and you're like so super into something that's like totally weird, and then they have like a channel and they can like turn it on and be like, oh, I can see what that person is like, you know? It's like super cool to me that they can, you know, see that.
Yeah.
So I mean, because that's what I think too. Like there's something going on, you know. We're involved in something.
Yeah, I think it's also like I don't really feel confident communicating verbally, which is funny because I'm on this podcast. But through music, I knew that I could say something, even if it was abstract, and people could respond, and it was something other than like being able to formulate some like profound sentence. And
yeah, that's I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess different things are scary for different people, you know, like I don't know. Yeah, I want to play live too, but I did it.
Have you ever?
Yeah, I've done it. My thing is I don't know what gear to bring. I'm always like scared I'm going to break my stuff, and
totally.
It's like a money thing. It's like me being cheap.
For me, depending on the gig, I'll bring out, you know, more or less.
Yeah, because I mean, but then it's even more raw. You know, it's like you know, just coming with a thumb piano and backing tracks. You know, that's pretty fucking gnarly. You know, like
very
you know,
gnarly.
it's like you know, it's like imagine you're like at a party, and you're like sitting there, and there's like a thumb piano by the lamp next to you, and you're like, hold on a minute, everybody. You know, like I'm gonna play you a little song here.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't the one that said hold on a minute.
No,
but
I
it was
know,
someone else, so.
but that's the way I think about it. You know what I mean?
For me, it was like an honor to be in like a foreign culture, another country I'd never been to before.
But in Japan, they're so polite and welcoming that it's kind of like I don't trust it. It's so nice. Like it makes me feel uncomfortable how nice and supportive people are. Like I'm always like, there's no way that's the way you really think.
When I went the first or the second or the last gig I had on that trip in Tokyo, I met this girl, and she's with her friend. The girl didn't speak English, but her friend did. So she said something when she met me, and then so her friend translated. She's like, "She is girl, but looks like a cool boy." About me, which I thought was cool, because I thought all the guys like looked really beautiful. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, I don't think that's probably a very nice thing to say. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it was like honest though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess you're. Yeah, that's nice that she was candid with you. I didn't spend enough time there to get that deep into it. Probably. It also is a weird place to me because everybody is Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever you go to those
or Australian.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. You know what depends on where you go. But I mean, that's always another thing that makes me that I'm not used to, is when you go to these other countries and they're all a part of that culture. Yeah. Because you know we forget that we grew up in the United States, which is
a melting pot.
Yeah, right? And even New York City. You know, like how many different kinds of people do you deal with on a daily basis?
Way
it's
too many.
Crazy, you know. So I don't know. That's another, before I start insulting people, I don't know. I've been to Japan twice or something like that, and spent 10 days one time, and went to Kyoto, and somewhere else did I go? I spent some time there. One time I got a haircut and walked around and went to, I don't know. I liked it better in the suburbs. Tokyo was not my.
Well, it's cooler people live in the suburbs, and I learned that the hard way the next time I went over. Yeah. Because I was like, I'm going to stay for a few months. I'm going to live in the center of Tokyo. And I found a spot in like Shinjuku, right near where like Mishimo Yukio committed suicide. But all the cool shows were happening like in the suburbs, like the Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah.
All the weird like cosmic noise shows I went to.
No, when I went one time, some of the best stuff it was out in the suburbs. You know, you like go to this like
teacup cafe,
or like old, you know, I like the like businessman bars where like,
I love that.
Where you can only get like meat on a stick and beer.
Yeah,
like,
the izakaya.
And the other other one I really liked is we went somewhere where they were just like waiting for my bus to like take me away or whatever, like ready to get rid of me. But we went to a restaurant and you could like either have like a small plate of gyoza or a large and beer, and that was like the only thing they
A
served.
set, like
Yeah.
a set menu.
I was like, oh, beer and gyoza. Like, what else do you need at a bar? You know, like I really like that. I would go back for that.
Definitely.
Send me back for that. But Tokyo, not so much. I don't. I could,
Too
guess-
just too stimulating.
No, I mean, we went. My friend Satsuki that I knew from here, she had been deported at some point and lived in London, and she ended up being there at the same time. And she took me to some of these businessman bars, like in the suburbs. You know, I had to take the subway train out, and just she makes cupcakes. She used to work at Magnolia Bakery, and she started doing that in London, and she sells Japanese cupcake books. So she had like her cupcake class. So I went with her and her cupcake friends to like a businessman bar, and we ate like meat on a stick and drank beer. And that was really cool. I felt okay with that place. And then another time, my friend Mark he's English, but he works for Rush Hour, and he was living there for a little while, and he took me. We went to this restaurant where it's like one of those restaurants where they have like the fire in the middle with a bunch of different fish on a stick around the fire, and like there was a big sign that's like, if you don't speak Japanese, like don't come in here or whatever. But we like went, and we were like the first people in line. Like we like waited like an hour before, and they let us in, and it was like, you know, you just like pointed to the one you want, and you went and like got pickles and stuff. And the people sitting next to us, it was like you know, you all sit around the chef, and people were talking to us and stuff. It was nice. I mean, that was, but Tokyo, or I guess it was like Times Square, I guess, you know, the center.
I liked it as a woman. Like, I didn't feel threatened.
Yeah.
I could walk around at like 4 a.m. and it was like winter time. I'd have my headphones on, and, you know, the subways stop running at midnight, and I go to like Club Yellow or whatever, and then like I could walk. I've learned how to walk through like the metropolitan region. Yeah, I did.
So you spent a lot of time there.
I've spent fair amount of time.
Did you live there for a while? Or?
Yeah. Like
so you said you lived in a small.
Because after San Francisco, I was like, I gotta get the fuck out. I knew I would end up in New York, so in between SF and New York, I was in Japan under the pretense that I was studying like Japanese language. Like I was enrolled in a language school, but I didn't attend classes very frequently. I like to think I learned from the streets.
Yeah, so you picked up some Japanese.
Yeah.
Like pretty good.
Yeah, I was studying Japanese in San Francisco too at City College. But now it's rather rusty because I'm not using it on a regular basis, unfortunately. But when I came to New York, my first job was for a Japanese company, so I was doing like translation and stuff.
Well, like into Hebrew or Japanese Hebrew.
I can. There's some interesting similarities.
Is there really?
Yeah, and there's theories that like one of the like lost tribes of Israel ended up in Japan.
Why not?
Yeah, there's interesting like freaky similarities with like various like Shinto rituals and like.
But or like the characters in the language too.
Some of them, yeah. If you look at katakana at the alphabet, there's some of the characters are actually the same as Hebrew, and some of like sounds.
Yeah, why not? It's not that far away.
Yeah, it's not. I met a Hasidic Japanese person this like a few weeks ago.
How does that happen?
I'm waiting to find out because I couldn't ask on the spot. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh,
like,
great
so
to
what's
meet.
Up,
yeah,
what's up with this?
Yeah, right. It was after Yom Kippur, which is like the most somber holiday.
What do you celebrate on Sukkot?
Sukkot. Yeah, Sukkot. So that's the Ashkenazic pronunciation.
Sukkot.
That's the harvest festival.
And that we just had it.
Yeah.
Today?
Today was Simchas Torah.
Okay.
So that's like the culmination of the high holidays.
What is
Sukkot? It's a week-long holiday. It's a harvest festival. So you build like a sukkah, which is like the
where you live outside live on your porch.
You see that shit like on the balconies.
Yeah, okay. That's what it is. That's the one. Because
it's fun. I miss it. Like I was actually really sad. I didn't.
Well, you could still do it.
I know, but I had to work. Like I was too I know. I could have gone.
Well, you could plan for it next
I
year.
know.
Next year you can
Beat
plan
my
for it.
chest.
It's gonna be okay. But you should do it. That'd be cool. You know,
It's
why
really
not?
cool. You like eat your meals out there,
And
and
you
some
could-
people sleep in
But
the
it would
sukkah.
also be cool if you could share it with your friends
I know. I'll
that don't
invite
know anything
you.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only know about these things because there's no alternate side parking. And I'm like,
Or you're trying to go to B&H. and
no,
get, like,
no,
a can.
no, no. Or my mechanic. But no, I see that like there's no alternate side parking. I'm like, why?
That's weird.
And I'm like, what is suck?
That's
I always
so
call
funny.
it suckath because
Yeah,
it sounds
but
way
then-
funnier, like suffer and
Well,
suck.
that's, yeah. If you're like gonna do the like Ashkenazi pronunciation, it's sukkahs, because they pronounce the T as a S. So I'd be in school, it's like but then in Hebrew and the Israelis, it's like t. You know,
Okay. And what? I don't know about all that
it's cool.
We got into some Jewish stuff with Jordan. I don't know if you,
Yeah, I saw that.
a little
yeah.
bit. I had to edit some stuff out.
Oh
No,
yeah, no.
no, but he has a good. I mean, he has a good story about getting not having to be in the military, which he doesn't always say, but it's pretty good. But I'm just fascinated by like Jew stuff or whatever.
Well, anytime you want to attend services, hit me up. We can go.
Do you go to that stuff?
Occasionally.
Do you really? Where do you go?
There's a place in Bushwick actually that it's nice.
What street is it on?
Flushing Avenue.
On Flushing and
Yeah.
by all the Jew stuff.
No, it's a hipster. It's like a Chabad.
Where
Which
is
is,
Flushing and what?
Right in that mall. You
In
know
the mall?
the fucking.
The Jew Mall?
No, it's not a Jew mall. It's a regular hipster mall. Not like the tattoo parlor. It's like
Bushwick.
Bushwick and fucking Knickerbocker.
Oh, by Knickerbocker. So like
Yeah.
where Rec Room was, kind of.
R.I.P. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, weird. No, I don't know. I didn't even know. Like, I had
Okay.
no idea. Like, growing up, like, I'm from San Antonio, Texas, and I didn't even know what Jewish was.
Yeah,
till
did
I
you
w-
think there were horns? Like
No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But then now realizing it, like one of my best friends, his dad is Jewish, and another
So
one.
he's not actually Jewish.
No, and then I had another. There's a weird combination in San Antonio. There's like a lot of Jewish and Mexican people,
Love it.
and a lot of my friends were like, I had no idea,
Yeah.
like growing up, and then
But they were the weirdos, right?
no, I don't know, they were my friends. So and then I moved here, and like the first day I moved here, I'd never been to New York City, so
Why? That's scary.
we
You just
showed-
moved here?
yeah.
There you go. It's scary.
We showed up and we got an apartment, and my landlord was Hasidic. Or no, actually, even before that, we drove through Williamsburg. Like we arrive, and I'm like, you get to New York, and you're like looking around, like you come out of the Holland Tunnel, you go into Williamsburg, and you're like driving around, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, is all of New York like this, like 1940s Poland or whatever it is? And so we go to my, we got somehow my roommate had
where is
scouted
it
out
from?
before.
Yeah.
And so we ended up we lived on North 3rd between Kent and Wythe. And my landlord was Isaac.
Nice.
And he was we were the first people to move into the building, so it wasn't finished yet. And he was a Hasidic guy. That was my first thing. And I had no clue, like, what this guy, I was like, why is this guy talking like this? And why is he wearing a suit? And, like.
What are those tassels?
Yeah, he had on, and then you start doing the thing, and you like read about like the sheet with the sex through the hole, and you know it's like, and all these like
Some
stuff,
meth.
and you're like not even you don't know if it's true or not. And so like now I'm but I'm like a 21-year-old kid, so I don't really know what's true or not, But yeah, sorry.
You weren't woke.
No, I wasn't woke. I'm still not woke. I'm just trying. I just feel like I'm worried about the woke stuff because like it gets. Why? Then it becomes scary to like ask questions.
Yeah,
You're
I
like,
agree.
you're like, am I allowed to ask
There's
this?
like it's too policed. I feel.
There's a good and a bad to it. You know what I mean? You just have to realize, we should still be able to talk about this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
But whatever. So that's why I hope I'm not offending you in my
I'm not
weirdness
offended.
stuff.
I love it.
So you met a Japanese, a Hasidic guy
Yeah.
this week or in Japan?
No, in New York.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this wasn't while you were living in Japan.
No. I don't think so.
All right.
I did work, I had a little job teaching English to businessmen when I was in Tokyo, but I don't think any of them were Jewish. They didn't tell me.
Oh God, sorry. All right, let's get back on track. Sorry, that was a little detour into the glass of wine or whatever. The true person comes out now. All right, so you're living in Japan, and you do some stuff. And were you doing music then? This is where you had the hookup with the not the hookup, but the guy you knew from before with the festival stuff.
Well, the second time around when I was like living there for a while longer, I saw him a few times, but I wasn't like depending. I was like going to shows and stuff and meeting other people, and I knew I would want to like set up some shows eventually, but I didn't go there specifically to like tour. It was more like to just be there and soak it in and write music or whatever, like just evolve. So yeah, I met some cool people.
But, I mean, do you think that you were like fully self-aware of what you were doing, or you just were kind of cruising?
I was definitely cruising, but also like I was aware that I was like
You're still like escaping something.
yes, escaping, but also just exploring. And
you're like, what is the furthest away from my family?
literally,
in Maryland?
yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on the other
And
side of this
there's
planet.
a reason why there's like, I'm not the first like Jew to be attracted to Japan. It's like a pretty.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Like magnets. And there's actually like genetically in my family, I have relatives who also were drawn to Japan. And I had like a distant cousin who had been living there for like 30 years, and I met her for the first time in Japan, and she sort of took me under her wing. She's very sophisticated.
She was like a businesswoman.
Yeah. She worked. Well, I'm not going to say who she worked for, but she was like worked in finance, but she had like a PhD in Japanese architecture. But the reason she got interested in Japan was because of my uncle, who lives in New York, and he's a neurosurgeon. But he was infatuated with Japanese culture when he was in college.
So
and he told her, he was like, you have to take this class at like Columbia or whatever. And she took the class, and then yeah, like my ancestors, like I had like a great uncle or whatever, and he had like our family or whatever from like Poland or whatever had like a business like selling like sewing machines or whatever, and then eventually it became like radios and then TVs, and then they eventually like, did business with Japan, you know.
Oh, crazy.
Mm.
So you have had some connection there, and you're like, I'm going, and you spent some time there, but then you knew always you'd come back and go to New York.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, I'd love to live in Japan like longer term, but that wasn't in like my immediate, like that wasn't, I knew like, I had after 3 months, because I was like the tourist visa, I had to go back. So I went to New York.
How old are you at this point? Like 25 or something?
I guess.
Something like
something like that.
After post college, a couple of years.
Yeah, I was like, So then I went.
So
to New
now
York.
you're finally becoming like a person.
Exactly, slowly.
Yeah, I mean it takes time. I think everybody's a little different, but it seems like
late bloomer for sure.
No, but I think that's totally normal. Like 26, 27, you kind of realize like, oh wait, this is what life is. Yeah. It's not really that glamorous.
No.
You just gotta work and like pay your rent and like
do laundry.
Try to like not have a shitty life. It's not gonna. Yeah.
Unless you get into noise music, and it's like.
Your life's gonna suck.
Shitty life.
You have a shitty life with plenty of inspiration for your noise music.
Mm-hmm.
So you leave 3 months. You're there. You're whatever. Do stuff. Your stuff there. Play a couple shows or something, and then you come back and you end up in New York, or immediately straight to here. Or
I lived in East Williamsburg on Metropolitan Avenue.
And what?
In Graham.
Metropolitan. That's Bushwick, man.
What?
I don't
It
never.
was off the Graham stop.
That's fine.
fucking East.
Isn't Bushwick
Williamsburg.
Ave right there?
No, it was like a little further up.
Like one block up?
I didn't know what Bushwick was.
I didn't know
then.
what East Williamsburg was. It's like
I just knew I could see the Williamsburg Bridge down.
Yeah, all right.
Um,
Sorry, I'm just old. That was like a thing that came up. Like East Williamsburg never existed for a while, and then all of a sudden it was like,
Well, yeah, of
I
course.
was like, this is Bushwick. I'm like, Bushwick Ave is right here.
Well, when I lived in I lived like Essex Street and like Hester, and then it was like East Chinatown. I'm like, I don't know, like what is that? Like,
No,
right? I mean, what is it though? It's Lower East Side.
I don't know. Or they could also call it Alphabet City.
Yeah, it's like old. Like my grandfather was born on like East Broadway, and that's like Jewy. That's like old Lower East Side. It's like original.
Chinatown.
They called it East Chinatown. Like when I was.
Oh, weird.
Now it's Dime Square. What we call it.
Oh God, this
Or
is
like that's what.
this is sickening. But it's like this. But this. I mean. I don't know. My dad's an architect, and he had. I don't know. Maybe I'm not telling the story right, but he didn't have a lot of respect for real estate agents. And I'm sorry that you said your brother is one. I
He's
think.
not a real estate agent, but he works in the industry.
But he was like a. I don't know. That seems like a thing that comes from real estate people. They like make up names
Yeah,
for neighborhoods
totally.
that don't exist. Oof.
Nomad or
No leader.
Mima is like middle Manhattan, fucking
Midtown.
Yeah. But it's more like West Side, you know, like where all those buildings are now, like
I don't
fucking
know.
like FIDI
FIDI.
Financial District.
Jesus. All right. I don't have anything nice to say about this, so we shouldn't talk about it. Let's talk
Okay.
about nice stuff.
Okay.
Am I talking like that?
No.
All right. So you're a pretty well-established musician around New York City.
No. Or what?
You get to play shows at fancy places, and they give you money, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
And so how did that happen? I mean, you're what? So you by the time you move back to New York City, it's like 2007, 8,
I think around that time. Yeah.
and that's like the time of like new disco and fashion parties and photographers at the party and MySpace.
Yeah.
And kind of a weird time.
Yeah.
There wasn't really like a I don't know what was cool, Animal Collective or something.
Yeah, all that like
Reverb. indie,
collage neon stuff that I wasn't really into.
Philadelphia.
So yeah. I came to New York and I was like, Yeah, I felt alienated from
It was a
like the
weird
scene. But so I wasn't like trying to really play shows. I didn't really think I could.
But what drew you to New York?
New York was just, I knew I would end up there because I didn't have an option. I was not going to move back to like my hometown. But New York was like the only other place that I felt like I knew that, and like all my other friends were moving.
You got
So-
public transportation.
Yeah, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to move to New York and reinvent myself and like be
Yeah.
a star. It was never that. It was like, oh, that's where like my family is. It's like,
It's reasonable.
it's familiar, but it's far enough away from like my parents' home. Like,
They're not gonna pop in.
yeah, or it's just like, I don't have to like, worry about, I could just do whatever. So,
So you just got a place on by the Graham stop.
yeah, like I lived for a month with my brother because he lived in Hoboken at the time when I was like looking for a place. So I got a job right
What's
away.
Hoboken like?
I don't know. It was like
Weird.
I didn't really hang out there, but
Yeah.
like I had a job. Like I went to Soho every day and worked in the fashion industry for this Japanese apparel company, and then I moved to East Williamsburg, East Bushwickburg.
Off the L train. I lived off the L train.
So, what was your
And-
question?
I don't know.
Yeah. But then I was like making music, and then I became friends with some like people, like newer people, like Darren Ho. Yo, what's up, Darren? I love you. Like, while we were jamming for a while, and I recorded some other music, and Darren actually had like a tape label called Gel.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't know
So
that.
he released a tape of mine in 2009
Oh, okay.
that was sort of like dreamy, kind of like
And
it was sort of like Wong Kar Wai, like
and that's like a
soundtrack.
Lili S one.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
I just don't say it. I'm like too embarrassed. I hate it.
51717.
Mm.
I got it now.
Woo.
I learned it. Damn, dude. So you're on. You're putting out. But how? What is this? I haven't heard this.
He
tape.
was like, he offered to put it out, and I was like, sure. I'm never sending my shit. I'm not like, hey, like, except like in the early years when I was all like young and like.
Yeah. But
I'm
so
just like-
2009 tape labels. It's not quite the.
It
time.
was, but he's like, this is like this sort of noise scene,
Yeah.
and
Always
that's
kind of been a
always
tape scene.
So, that was nice. Like I'm proud of that.
What is it? And how are you making that thing? Was it?
That was like I recorded it like on the floor of my room off of Metropolitan Avenue with like some crappy old like digital keyboard, and it was like still like electroacoustic. I think I had like
A microphone.
I had the Dr. Rhythm. I had whatever weird metallophones and
So you're using a microphone still with some drum machines
yeah, I think so.
and some
Yeah,
acoustic
I haven't
instruments.
heard that shit.
Is there a place you can hear it now, or
I think
you have to buy the
well,
tape?
I think I put a few tracks. I have a Bandcamp that I'm not very good at like keeping that stuff active, but
It's on.
I have a few tracks. I couldn't find all of the digital ones
Staring at
because
it?
he like couldn't find them because like I've gone through so many like hard drives and like so many computers over the years that have
We're gonna have to
died.
find the tape.
I know, like I have the actual tape, but I don't have a tape
I have a
player.
tape
So
player.
yeah, maybe we can.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Dub it? Is that what
Yeah,
they
we
say?
can digitize it.
Digitize.
Yeah, I'm sure you know someone with a tape player.
No.
I have a tape player. We can record it if you want. If you want to give me if you let me borrow the tape, I'll record it for you whenever
What
you
a mensch.
whenever you want. I'll give the tape back and everything. I'll delete the files in front of you if you want. Also, but why not? It should be preserved. You made it.
True, right?
So I know Darren's from like Iowa, right?
Yeah.
How did you meet that guy?
I met him in San Francisco one time because he was there with his band, Raccoon.
We're talking about Darren who runs Control.
Yeah, Darren Ho.
Okay.
My boy.
I'm gonna have him on the podcast
Hell
too.
yeah.
I always get along with him when I see him.
I love Darren.
Yeah. And so you met him in San Francisco, and then so you
Just briefly, but like, yeah, so then I knew who he was, and I forget where I met him.
MySpace.
No,
I don't know.
I think it was IRL, but
Oh.
I don't know. I'll have to. I can text him.
So you put out a tape, and but that's the weird thing too, is that it doesn't seem like you're doing this for any particular reason. It's just kind of like what you did. Did you have like a goal with it, or
Hell no.
You just were like, I feel like I want to make music, and
I just felt like that was my only way to communicate with people, and I still feel that way.
and that so that's what it's like it's like a some sort of fuel to keep you socialized or something. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like the
totally.
thing you do that makes you interact with other people.
Yes, yes.
It's interesting. I mean, this is I've been doing these podcasts now, and I talk to people. I had Regis on the other night.
Cool.
And he said something like totally that I did not expect someone to say. I was like, why did you do this stuff? And he's like, I wanted to be famous.
Wow.
And it's like,
fun.
like
Mhm.
it's not like crazy to think that, at all, but it's not a lot of people will say that. Like maybe
Totally.
people think it
Yeah.
or whatever, but other people are, everybody's like a little bit, and for me that was like a weird thing to think. Like I would never think like I did it because I wanted to be the guy
think,
that everybody
yeah.
was looking at or whatever.
I just wanted to be understood or something, or like, because I've always felt very lonely.
Yeah.
And somehow with the music, it's like I feel less lonely.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
then,
it's pretty
yeah.
it's pretty raw to like do
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? It's like a
I think it's my way of like, yeah, bluntly, I don't know, saying something to someone or being able to just be like, I feel this way. Because I don't know how to talk about my I'm trying to like,
yeah. I'm pretty reserved.
you know
too.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I can't be like, I feel sad. I don't know how to say that. Or like, I'm really enjoying spending time with you. Like,
So you're.
it's like, I don't know.
I mean, that's pretty cool that you can do that. Like you're like that's
Do you want some of this?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
It's
We're
a
on.
peasant's tear.
Oh Lord. But no, but I mean, I guess that's probably what I'm scared of and playing live. It's like this thing like that. It's like a release or I'm sharing too much or whatever. You know.
Well, at this point, yeah, it's interesting having evolved because I am approaching it now almost scientifically,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like, oh, yeah, I have like certain feelings, but I do feel a little more like I can kind of play around, and it's not only about expressing these like very intense
Yeah.
or like I'll always have this like feeling of alienation and like this like embedded trauma that I'll always be trying to work through my whole life, but it's like there's also there can be a sense of joy and like
No, but I mean, it sounds like now you have a different. Your perspective has changed on it a little bit. You're a little more aware of what's going on.
And I'm more cynical and
Well, like cynical about everyone or about.
yeah. And
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's normal. There's no reason not to be.
well, and then you know when you start to
Here, what next?
l'chaim,
What I don't understand.
it's a cheers, like
Cheers.
Jewish cheers.
I thought that was like an author's name or something.
It means to life.
Oh, cheers.
It's good. It's like black cherry.
Yeah, it's
like,
completely different.
This is
But see, that's different. That's completely different from what I drink. All these like juicy wines.
This
like
is juicy too, though.
No, but it's
dry.
this has the dry, the like a skin or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's unfiltered. So.
yeah, I like it too.
Yeah.
But it's different from what I normally drink.
Mm.
But I like it. We're both We're both drunks, I guess. And gonna be more drunk. All right, so you're putting out music. You're in New York now, and let's keep on track here. We're getting there. We're doing good. And this is still 51717.
I think it's still.
Did I say that right?
Oh yeah, I've always just my solo material has always come out under that alias.
And so at this, so you said 2009 you put this tape out with, and Darren put this tape out
on gel
for you. And what do you remember? It's like I'm gonna get the. Oh, you have the tape. Let's digitize it.
Okay, great.
Please. I'll help you with it.
Hell yeah.
I have 2 tape players. We can try one if it doesn't work. And no problem. I'll do it. I'll do it in one night. I want to hear it. I'm just. Do you remember how you made it? You said you were on the floor with your drum machine and
into my laptop, I guess, right?
In 2009. So laptops
with like
laptops
I had a
are pretty good.
preamp, you know.
Yeah.
So the mic, I guess. I can't remember. I don't think I had like any amp or like. I don't know if I was even advanced enough to like connect the keyboard directly into the computer. It might have all been through the mic.
So you're the internal mic on the computer.
No, that's a good
mic.
question. I
'Cause
don't
I
know. I don't remember.
So I made a record with my friend, and she recorded it in her bathroom with the internal mic, and we released it, and it's it sounds super good.
Well, my record with like "Jealous God," a lot of those vocals is just because I was like destitute in Paris, and
that's
I
how
was
it works.
Or I recorded into the voice memo of my iPod.
That's how it works sometimes, you know. Like I mean, you got to catch the moment, you know.
Exactly.
So that came out, and that I mean that this is gonna go with technology again. Is like, you know, you now have a laptop that or now have a voice memo. You can record your voice at any moment. Like there's a lot of different stuff you can do. Were you ever working with other people or?
Yeah, with Darren.
Did you make music
and
together?
some other people, but
do you want me to untape this or? You made music with Darren? No.
yeah,
Was it good?
it was cool. Yeah.
Did that come out too?
No, unfortunately.
So he probably can't find that either.
No.
Might not. And then, so now, I mean, most people will probably know you from this like Lies kind of thing.
Yeah.
At some point, you ended up putting out records on Lies through Ron Morelli. Like, how did that happen? Like, did you meet him through? From Jason and them.
Yeah, just through those guys. Like, he would DJ. I think I went to some party in Philly. Maybe even the same time like Hits played there.
Because he lived there for a little while in Philly.
I guess so, yeah. And like I knew like Josh Anzano.
Okay.
And like, so yeah, it was like I always knew that any party that Ron was DJing at would be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I moved to New York, it was like, oh, like, whatever, Williamsburg, like whatever party, and then Ron's DJing, and I guess he knew who I was, cause yeah, it's just like the scene. And then when he started Lies, it just
ended up happening.
I don't know. Yeah, I never sent him like a demo or anything.
So you had some music, and you ended up being on there, and then you ended up. I mean, that's the first time that I ever met you around that time.
Well, it was because of Shadow Lust. That was like the first thing he released.
You put out Shadow Lust records, and
online.
Can you tell us about that record? Or?
Yeah, well, so I contacted Marquis.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know him, but he's Svengali's ghost, and he put out a record on Lies. I thought it was really cool. And I just had like the chutzpah, like the guts, just to reach out to him because
yeah, he's a talented guy.
Yeah, I was like, this is interesting, and I had been playing around with like instrumental tracks. I was like doing like kind of soundtrack work for like a friend of mine, like a filmmaker, but the film, like whatever, like didn't happen, and I just felt like maybe like some vocals would really be cool, but I didn't want it to be my vocals. And I sent him a message on SoundCloud, and he was like, he enthusiastically responded, and it kind of just started from there. We were trading tracks. So
he's living in Chicago at this point.
And that's how Shadow Lust like slowly developed.
So just like sending files back and forth, kind of.
And I was living in like East Chinatown at the time or whatever, Chinatown.
No, but I mean I think he's a good person because he's like a ball of energy. Like once he gets on something, he's like go, let's do this, and that seems like a good person.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I'd be like sitting on the floor, like I was really inspired by just the neighborhood and the atmosphere, and we would trade like not just music but imagery, like a lot of dystopian, like brutalist.
Yeah, I mean that's even cool too, because even without meeting him in person, you can realize what kind of energy he has. Like even just through communicating through the internet, you can feel this guy.
Yeah, it was a really special time. But the actual record that we did for Lies, we recorded together, like live, in John Nicholson's studio.
Okay.
SSPS, Fur City. Thank you, John. We will always be in debt.
Some people know him as Pork Chop.
Yes, Pork Chop. We love you, icon.
And that was at his. That was where he lived, like right up
by
the
studio,
JMZ. By the JMZ. Okay, cool.
It was like winter time, and so that's when we played on your show. That was the night before. Was the very first time we had jammed like together in person at Alex from Queens' place.
Okay.
So so we took mushrooms, like, and I think at one point we ran out of like something like a tape. We were recording on like 4-track. So Darren came over because he had. Yeah, it was like I think I posted a message on
he
like
was like the
Facebook.
tech guy or something.
Yeah. Darren's like our angel in white, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I'm gonna put this mic.
Yeah, do whatever you gotta do.
So then that record.
You can move it and bend it however
oh my
you
god,
want.
this is great. So we went on your radio show. It was like Christmas Eve or something.
Was it? It was a weird.
It was the Christmas time.
Yeah.
And we were still sort of coming down because we took mushrooms the night before. But we like I still really love that live set on WTBS.
It's on there. It's on SoundCloud now.
Yeah.
I
love it.
If you search it, you can find it.
I think I have it reposted to my my solo SoundCloud.
But there was another time too where you came to my studio and we all recorded together also.
What?
Didn't
Really?
you? I think I remember another time where like you and Marquis came to my studio when it was on Greenpoint Avenue in the pencil factory upstairs. It was around the same. I can't remember. I want to find the recordings.
What?
I can't. I feel like we did that too.
Was it Mystery School or that was with John?
I don't know what Mystery School is.
That's like Marquis, Pork Chop, and we recorded.
No, it wasn't. I never recorded with Pork Chop.
Oh, you should.
I know I should. One day. I really like his skateboarding videos.
Oh yeah.
Because I skateboard too, and I'm always like,
do you still skateboard?
No, I'm scared. I don't have health. I don't have health insurance. It scares me. Because there's like a guy that he's like a pro skater. He skated for like my roommate's team. They like skated together, and I'm always like, I'm too old, and he's like, you're never too old. I'm always like, oh god, I want to.
Are you still swimming?
No. I can't. I would love to.
But you're scared of drowning, or what?
No, I don't have access to a nice pool.
I'm
a little bit snob. The pools aren't very nice over here.
Fair enough.
It's gross.
Yeah.
I mean, any other city you live in, you got a nice pool if you don't have money. But New York City, you have to have an inn for a nice pool. I do YouTube yoga now.
Oh yeah,
I need
Adrian.
Sometimes when I'm feeling really tired, I'll do a yoga with Adrian.
Yeah.
'Cause hers are too easy sometimes.
Yeah.
But she's got a good progression.
Mm-hmm.
So which
she
I appreciate.
Talks a lot though. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm from Texas too, so it kind of.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm used to it. She is a little annoying.
Right.
But there's sometimes the other ones, the hippie ones, are too hippie.
Yeah.
And then there's like the weird workout people that are a little scary. So it's like you got to get a balance. So you got to do a little bit of all of them. That's where I'm at now.
Interesting.
All right. So so you did Shadow Lust, and then you also did some solo stuff too, right?
Well, yeah, that I was like, always doing whatever solo
Projects
stuff.
with other people.
I mean, yeah, Shadow Lust, the record came out in like 2013, like 2012. A tape was released of my solo stuff on Opal Tapes from the UK.
How did that happen?
This guy who runs the label reached out to me. I think he originally wanted to release Shadow Lust, but I was like, sorry, no. But I have
so it's
some
like
solo stuff.
SoundCloud stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, he released that. That was cool because it was like a whole other audience. And then actually Huarco S did a remix of one of the tracks. That's really cool. I really love it. I didn't even know him at the time, but I thought his music was cool. So again, I had this chutzpah, and I was like, I think it's like if I don't meet people, I have more courage. I'm just like, hi, do you want to remix my track?
But you're just.
And then I meet them in person, and I'm hiding a little, I'm shy.
But he's nice, dude.
Yeah, he's a sweetie.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That was an interesting way to
meet people.
preserve that part of my life.
Yeah, but it was another time. I don't remember what happened. It was a weird time, between 2009 and 2015 or something. That whole time, it was just kind of I don't know what was happening.
So Lies started in 2010, right? So then Steve Summers, and then there was 285 Kent, Mutual Dreaming. At least that was for me. So there are those parties. Okay, so basically I played the very first Body Actualized Control show. So at Market Hotel, a bunch of those vibers were living there. And so Aurora, I knew her from the DC area. She's do you want to play? We're doing this like rooftop yoga party with like Jan.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure. You know, like, whatever. That sounds great. So, and actually that night, kind of the clouds moved in. It was like, oh shit, there's going to be a thunderstorm. And I'm like, this like Jewy, like hypochondriac. I was like, I was too scared to like play on the roof. So we moved it like inside. But that was the beginning of what eventually became like Body Actualized Center. Because like they started from that event to do like regular nights, like rooftop yoga with live music, like vibey, like ambient, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it grew into that thing, which eventually, you know, Aurora started her empire with like mutual dreaming.
But you think it came from Body Actualized? Sort of.
I believe, I could be mistaken, but like that was her first sort of party series.
Yeah.
Like she and Jan started.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, like 285 Kent was where like I really sort of, I guess, started meeting people.
Yeah.
And like I saw Tracks play for the first time. It was like Halloween or whatever. I was on mushrooms. It like snowed, which is fucking weird.
I did a podcast with Trax.
Oh yeah,
It's coming.
I can't wait. I love the WTBS he did with him.
He
I think that was when I was in Paris.
He's married now.
Amazing.
He brought his wife, and his wife sat next to him.
Oh,
They were here.
I love you, Melvin. He was so sweet.
I hadn't talked to him in a while, so it was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice to catch up.
Oh, that makes me happy.
Yeah. Hello, Melvin.
Hi.
He's not.
Respect.
He's having some trouble with his mom, or he's been in the hospital with his mom for the past like month. It's pretty sad.
Sorry to hear that. I know she has the same birthday as Prince.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Fellow Gemini.
I've been trying to keep touch with him, but it's he's kind of
Oh.
he's in his own. He's got his family stuff going on, so it's sad, you know. But sorry, a little aside. So you saw Melvin at 285 Kent play. Hello, Melvin. We're thinking about you.
Love you.
Yeah, that was. I mean, Body Actualized. I really liked that place.
Body Actualized Center.
It was super weird and
Yeah.
like I didn't belong there, but they let me come in.
Yeah.
They
totally.
never bothered me. They let me come in. I don't know why. I wasn't like a hippie doing yoga at that point, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, same. I wasn't. I was never.
But I always liked that place. So and now he's kind of doing some other stuff. Now he's doing this.
Who's he? Jan?
No, Jan and
Or Etienne.
Jan and Etienne. I
Yeah.
fixed some of his gear recently.
Oh,
That's the last interaction. I haven't seen Jan in forever. But the other guy, Brian, is doing his,
I think he's in LA.
Yeah, he's doing
like ambient church.
And, but it was it was like a yoga center, and they would have weird parties at night.
Tariq, yeah.
Yeah.
One time I was at a party there, and I took there was like the THC or mushroom tea, and I was convinced that Gene Simmons was at the party, and I wouldn't let anyone convince me otherwise.
That'd be cool.
There was like some guy there with like black hair, and I was like, it's Gene. I was like freaking the fuck out.
I like that place. I don't know what. I just felt like nobody cared.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, they didn't judge you.
Yeah, like you could just hang out. Like I could just stand there and be a dickhead. And like nobody cared. They're like, oh,
they weren't policing.
That's just the dickhead guy.
That's where I first met Joshua Slusher, where like in the backyard, this guy comes up to me. He's like, hey, you're Lili. You're ex-Hasidic and you make techno music. I was like, what? And Joshua, this young man in like the sort of noise techno scene, I think he's living in Colorado now, perhaps. But he grew up in Midwood. Like he's the only other person in that scene who had like a similar like family background as me.
Oh,
so
really?
I always have like a fondness for him.
Okay. I think that's like one of those people that you're like friends with on Facebook.
Totally. Yeah.
So I don't really know. I don't know if I know him personally.
He's cool.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to see him in real life. And like make the connection. Like maybe I've stood in a corner with him sometime and like had some
possibly
exchange, but I don't remember. And so, he went to a traditional religious school, also in Midwood,
which is where like my dad's from, like Flatbush.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me. Religion. I don't know. Just not.
It's weird.
But the other thing too that is interesting makes Jewish religion more interesting to me is that it's not. It's more cultural. It's like it's almost just like it's like a race.
Well, yeah.
So it's people try to make it like it's a religion, but it seems to me like it's a race. Is that weird?
No, I mean, talk to like some German. I mean, it's both, I guess. I mean, it's
But there's a lot of different
yeah,
kinds of Jewish
exactly.
people.
There are Jews who've lived all over
Yeah.
who are like racially, there's Jewish, like Arab Jews.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
African Jews and like Eastern European or
Well, it's probably a sensitive subject, and we have to watch what we say.
of course.
But
yeah.
that's just like it's a. I don't know. It's interesting to me because
definitely
it's
a
something
strong
different.
culture,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like when you say Christian, you don't associate like a culture with it. You know what I mean? As much as a Jewish culture. So that's why I have these extra questions.
But when you think of Jewish culture, are you thinking more of Ashkenazi Jewish culture?
I don't know.
That's the Eastern European, like Larry David, like kind of like.
Well, I don't know because I know a lot of Israelis too.
Okay,
So it's like a weird
true.
mix.
Yeah,
like
that's very mixed.
I don't know how to quite connect it and then there's also like the New York Jew, which is different too. You know, there's like the Upper East Side, which I guess is like the Larry David similar. There's also the similar thing in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Too. They have another kind, which is I can relate it to the Upper East Side.
That nebbishy, like.
Yeah, I don't know the slang word for it, but it's like
I think
American.
You would vibe with a nebbish.
Yeah, I always get along with Jewish people pretty okay. I don't know. Seem like nice people. I guess I get along with anybody.
Yeah. Do you think you're drawn to more of like an underdog, perhaps, or? Although I think Jews aren't necessarily underdogs.
I don't know what it is. It just doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Whatever, whoever you come across, if they're doing stuff you like, whatever.
I agree.
And you should be able to talk about
whatever
where they came from and ask questions and not be scared.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, we keep getting back to this. I'm sorry, I keep going back to the same subject. It's terrible.
It's okay. Like I bring it on myself too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
And still something that I'm processing as like an adult.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, I think it comes through in your personality.
Yeah.
Like it's part of you.
Yeah, and
I mean, you also bring it up quite often too. So
definitely, it's a compulsion.
But okay, so what I don't do we? Oh wait, so let's check. We've been talking for 2 hours.
Oh, I didn't
now.
even realize.
I just want to, let's come into reality just for a minute.
Music.
You're a music, but you mentioned along the way you also do like fashion stuff.
I don't do fashion stuff.
You're involved in
I guess
the fashion world somehow.
Sometimes, yeah.
So I mean, I was just going to ask about that briefly. Like, how did that come about? Is this, I mean, because it's also there's a connection between music and fashion somehow, and I mean they
sure
get close and come apart at some. How did that happen? Was that like from
I wasn't really. I mean, as a child, like going back to the Saturdays, like being bored, my mom like subscribed to like every magazine, including like Vogue magazine, and I was like, oh my god, like I would just look through Vogue because there's a lot of like naked women, like, and I was like really just drawn to like it was like the 90s, like supermodels, like the visuals were just so amazing. So I knew like, oh, fashion was like cool, but I didn't really like. From there, I was like, I kind of put it aside because when I discovered music, it was somehow separate. Although then like the glam rock
was pretty fashionable.
But then my first job in New York, like I said, was for this Japanese apparel company. So I kind of just fell into it. It was like you said, like when you become an adult, it's like you gotta like support your. So this was my job, and I happened to be I just learned about like the production, and like I was exposed to like the highest quality. Like this was a really high end place, like fucking Epstein, would shop there. But sorry.
So you met him?
I don't know. I've been trying to like
You like look at pictures from
revisit.
his
Yeah,
age.
because okay, one of the offices was 2 doors down from his apartment on the Upper East Side, and it's like like the people that we worked with. Like I was like a stylist. It was like A list.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But so I mean, but that just is just a weird. But that's the thing is like you probably meet this guy and be like, this guy's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's hot.
Super weird.
Yeah.
What a weird. I mean, because I mean, you come at these things, these scandals from an outside perspective, and it seems so obvious that oh, this guy's a creep. But then if you meet him like on that, in a real thing,
he
you're like,
probably
this
had
guy's very charming.
Yeah,
and,
a lot of charisma.
yeah.
Like if he asked me to be on his podcast,
Yeah,
I
I'd be
would
like, okay, sure.
be like, yeah, I would hang out.
Yeah, let's have dinner.
Yeah. He wouldn't be into me because I'm like he wanted like
Who
whatever. Yeah, but so whatever fashion. Yeah,
Sorry.
apparel, Japanese, indigo, like Ayazome, like the highest like organic like dyes and like
Yeah.
and like gauzy cotton and but that job itself was insane. Like I was salaried because like my boss knew that like they could like take advantage, you know what I mean, like work like 11 12-hour days. That was like the first thing I learned was like I never want to like have a salaried job again. You know what I mean? Like just clock in,
I've never
clock
had one.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But from that job, like I was there for like 2 years and I quit, but I knew like, oh, I had a lot of experience. So from there, it was never like, I want to be in fashion.
Yeah.
But then I ended up, I'm good at it, or like I meshed well with the people, like more in like behind the scenes.
Mhm.
And I met a lot of interesting people. And I worked with a few like amazing designers and,
Yeah, no, I'm just, you don't have to go super deep into it. I'm just curious. It's just, I mean, that's the other thing about, you move to New York. There's a lot of money here. And whatever job you can think of, you could probably get it if you really want it.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that goes to show, like, like, you weren't even trying, really, probably. and you got this high-end fashion job.
Yeah.
But that's how New York is.
Well, it was because of my obsession with Japanese culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you just knew somebody and they got you a job.
No, I found an
went
ad
there.
on Craigslist.
Oh, so you just showed up.
I searched like Japan or Japanese. It was like the only job I interviewed for, like when I first moved.
Jesus.
And I was like, I want this job, and like I got it.
Yeah, I always have this belief, like if you really want a job, you just go there and stay there until they hire you.
Well, I've done that with a few other places.
Yeah.
Another like designer who I ended up working for, I would just go try to like.
You just show up.
Yeah.
And not leave.
She's like always traveling, but then finally, I forget, I just was able to get in touch with her, and I ended up working with her for several years, and we have like, yeah, we have a
Cool.
good relationship.
But I mean, that's the same thing you did with music too. Like if you found it seems like you found people you liked and
Yeah.
you contacted them.
Yeah.
You think that's good advice for people? Why not, right?
Listen, like I never had the ambition, like, yeah, I'm just trying to like live a harmonious life and not just feel like I'm drowning in sorrow all the time.
It's that bad?
I'm saying, like, I'm being dramatic, but before, if I hadn't, I would like to imagine if I hadn't discovered, like, music or found this community, you know what I mean? Like-minded people.
You'd be like...
I don't know.
You'd be married to some guy with, like, 14 kids.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I don't know.
It's pretty scary, though, huh? But are those people happy?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like there's a sense of there's comfort.
Yeah. Because there's so many different types of, ways of living. Like maybe they're okay with that. Maybe it could have been okay like that.
But I guess I was never comfortable with with the what ifs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, if
yeah.
I knew, like,
Rather just make your own.
like I said, when I was a child, I was like, I remember just literally waiting.
Like, I gotta
I
get out
was
of here.
like, when am I gonna be a grown up? And like, I wanted to like have a job. You know what I mean? Because I knew it meant I would have my own money and like my own place to live and like.
Jeez. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that seems crazy to me. Yeah. You like have to get out. You're like, I gotta get out of here.
I don't know.
But so that's what's going on now? Like, what you said you played last week somewhere.
It was awesome.
Is there like things people can look out for you that are coming up, or you got any things
Yeah.
cooking in the?
I mean, I'm always cooking in the kitchen. I'm hoping to have another record to send to Ron. It's just a matter of time, and there's various like concepts, I work with, and Katie and I hope to get back into the studio this winter. I have a band with Katie Rose called PPG, and the only recorded release that we have was like a live recording that we put out that was released on tape with Primitive Languages.
But but you guys played live a
yeah, we've
times.
played a few times, but I think we were trying to do another record, or yeah. It's so that's
Get it together.
Yeah, I know.
Come on. She's not the easiest always. Sometimes I like her a lot though.
Yeah,
But
it's a bit of a schlep to get to Ditmas.
Yeah, it's far.
But winter, it's cozy, and we'll drink wine.
And you gotta like bring like a mattress or something.
Yeah. Oh, I sleep on their couch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a few shows coming up, so right now I'm just trying to prepare for that.
What do you bring when you do the shows?
It depends. Like I
Changes.
said, you know what I mean? Like if it's like at this rave, I knew there was
You need a kick drum.
kind of no, but there's also like the element of danger that maybe like
Somebody's gonna take your shit.
yeah, or like the cops are gonna come. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm not taking apart like my whole studio.
Yeah.
I brought my laptop. I brought a MIDI controller. I brought a mixer. I think that was it. I didn't even have like live vocals because I was just testing out some sounds. It was like power ambient or whatever.
And so I haven't seen you play in a long time. I don't go out of my house.
That's cool.
But what I mean, are you doing like the boom boom boom, or is it like noise?
It's neither.
A little in between. But it's not. Is it dance music?
No, I don't think so. And if you want to dance to it, that's great. It's more like it's like power. It's not power electronics, but it's playing with power. You know what I mean? It's
But so you're using a laptop and a MIDI controller and a mixer. So you have like.
Well, that was just for that one show.
So you have like
minimal.
There's some tracks coming out with stuff you pre-recorded, and then you're doing.
Yeah, because like in my studio, I have various gear.
Sorry, and so you have your studio there. You don't have a separate studio from
I
your
just
house.
have like a room in my apartment that has my stuff in it.
And you do working in headphones or with speakers and stuff?
I have speakers.
Depends on who's home.
Yeah, there's a lot of like noise that comes in from outside. So if I have like a big show and I'm really like nervous, I'll sometimes I'll rent a space, or if I have a friend with us.
Like at Sweatshop or something.
Yeah, whatever.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I always like to ask people, not
Yeah.
everybody is comfortable sharing their working process.
When I was in like Berlin, like I played at like Atonal, so I rented like a noisy room,
But do you have anything coming out? What do we miss? We're gonna finish it up. We're getting there. You got some
I'm
records
working
coming
on
out.
music always. Keep your eyes and ears open. I don't really like to like bombard people like, yo, working on this record, like check it out.
No, but I feel like you don't really have a plan. You just do your life and it happens.
I always work on music. I'm sure you can relate. It's like, and like various people like, and I have friends who are filmmakers and whatever, but I don't have the like, I guess I'm a kind of like, I don't necessarily think things are going to work out. Like So I'll just do it just as like an exercise or like.
But it's also a weird time now, though, too. It's like, why even put out a record?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Like, why? What's the point? And it's a weird time.
For me, yeah, it's like I'm working through like concepts, or I'm reading a lot about whatever, like digging into stuff. Like, okay, like, historical figures.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, because I guess I never did like a thesis, or like some sort of like academic like project. So,
So you're working on your thesis.
Whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody is out there, they should come and try to see you play sometime and just see what I mean. I appreciate that you're just doing it. Doesn't matter. There's no reason for it. You're just.
I mean, I guess there is, but I think it's not up to me to like talk about it.
No, I don't. I don't know. I mean, that's the other thing too. I guess I'm the same way. I would go to my studio and do it anyways. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't put out records in a couple of years now. I make more music now than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like kind of pointless at this point. Everybody does it, and you do it because you like it.
Yeah, or you need to.
Yeah.
Or you need to like put something away that's been like in your mind, or.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. There's something special about music, I don't know what it is.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't. Crazy. All right, you had enough of this?
I'm pretty drunk. So.
Yeah, me too. We better stop before we get too crazy. But anybody look out for Lili S. And she does some stuff. Thanks for watching.